that is brought to you in partnership of Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in Kenya.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor and blessings as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Senator Munyahaji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, this petition is brought under Article 28, 29, 30, 37, 41, 119, and 119 of the Constitution of Kenya, and Section 5, 4B, 16A of the Employment Act regarding the fate of the former employees of Cusco Limited. Mr. Speaker, sir, the undersigned petitioners are citizens of Kenya who largely reside in Mombasa County and are largely in the coastal region, and they are former employees of Kenya United Steel Company, known as Cusco, and wish to draw the attention of the Senate on the fate of the said citizens upon termination of their employment. Mr. Speaker, sir, the facts of the case are that the undersigned 163 people were employed by the company called Kenya United Steel Company Limited, here referred to as Cusco. The company is based in Mombasa, Jombo sub-county of Mombasa County. Mr. Speaker, sir, the petitioner were illegally dismissed from their employment but were not compensated by the employee. Instead, the company was sold and the employees left languishing in poverty. Mr. Speaker, sir, the petitioners, through Joseph Ashoya and 171 others, filed the matter before the High Court in Mombasa under petition number 703 of 2011. That the matter, Mr. Speaker, sir, was subsequently transferred to the Mombasa Employment and Labor Court and was subsequently dismissed by the High Court. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the time they went to court, the petitioners were claiming a total sum of 35,813,990 shillings. The amount was as follows. Salaries were amounting to 5,974,791, and other benefits amounting to 29,800,000 839,199. Mr. Speaker, sir, there was also the sum of 12,342,644 owed to their SACCO. These are savings which the employees had made with their SACCO. Mr. Speaker, sir, when the company was placed under receivership, PricewaterhouseCoopers Limited were appointed as the receiver manager. The labor officer also filed a report dated 16th April 2014 indicating that the claimants were employees of Kenya United Steel Company Limited. The labor officer recommended that the receiver manager to pay the claimants all their dues worked for the period from September 2003 up to December 2003. Mr. Speaker, sir, the petitioners rely on they allege that the regulators or the receivers declined to make the payment, and as a result, they violated Article 10 and 232 of the Constitution of Kenya, and national values, principles of governance, and public service, including negating the requirement of high standards of professional ethics in their work. Mr. Speaker, sir, the petitioners have suffered inhuman and degrading treatment as a result of their failure to be paid for their work that they had done with the Kenya United Steel Company. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to read the prayers because the petition is long. We humbly request the Senate, one, to investigate into the issue of termination and compensation of the former employees of Kenya United Steel Company, referred to as KUSCO, in this petition with a view to establish whether the matter was done within the law and was just and fair. Number two, invite Kenya United Steel Company, the then directors, Kenya United Steel Company, PricewaterhouseCoopers Limited, the Department of Labor, and all other respondents and their directors to answer questions regarding this matter of compensation. Number three, recommends that Kenya United Steel Company and their directors do remit to the petitioners the sum of 12,342,644 owed to them by their SACCO, which was not remitted. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee recommends that the sum of Kenya shillings 35,813,990 being the outstanding wages and benefits be paid to the petitioners. They so pray. Signed by Omar Ali Mwajabu and 9 others, Your Honor, Mr. Speaker, sir, on the 15th of June, 2021. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, pursuant to Standing Order 231, I shall now allow comments, observations, or clarifications in relation to the petition for not more than 30 minutes. Senator Musurube.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity to support Senator Faki's statement. And I want to say, Honorable Speaker, we are living in a country where we must be concerned about employees. When we think of employees, they are a source of labor in this country. And Honorable Speaker, when employees are just terminated without notice at all, it is actually unfair, and there's need to investigate circumstances under which these employees were actually terminated. And even, Honorable Speaker, in terminating these employees, there's need to be, we should know whether they were given a notice for termination, and also even the amount of money they are supposed to be compensated, and even the money they are supposed to be compensated, Honorable Speaker, should be valuable money that they can remember what they did during their active time when they were working with the Kenya United Steel Company, Honorable Speaker. And I have to say, Honorable Speaker, even these employees should be compensated for the damages they've gone through. And I think this is a justifiable statement that might be taken to the right committee that will decide, Honorable Speaker, so that it is acted on, and so that Kenyans know that we are there for them, and we are standing with them, we are standing with the employees, Honorable Speaker. I stand actually to support this statement. Thank you.
Senator Dulo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I wish to congratulate Senator Faki for actually bringing petition on behalf of these workers who have been unprocedurally terminated from their jobs. Mr. Speaker, as my colleague has said, there is a big problem as far as our people are concerned in the areas of employment. Individuals, companies, county governments, all these people, they don't actually follow procedures. Because if people don't follow procedures and people are laid off, it's really important that the relevant institution should look into it and make sure that Kenyans get their due rights. Mr. Speaker, you cannot terminate somebody's employment when somebody has worked for organization for more than years. Sometimes you will see that people are terminated without notice. I have a similar situation before Committee of Labor from my county where Wasonyiro North laid off more than 56 people. They actually reinstated 41 and refused to reinstate 8 of them. This is a matter with Labor Committee, and this is a government institution. It's unprocedurally. Some institutions, Mr. Speaker, they employ members of staff through casual. And when they are employed as a casual, the law says that it's only 3 months a contract. But you will find that even in government institutions, people are employed as casuals, and they end up being in those institutions for more than 10, 15 years. When they wake up one day, they actually lay off those members of staff, and that is illegal. I have a strike of casual workers in my county where they are over 9 months, they have not been paid. The governor appeared, Mr. Speaker, before the Public Accounts Committee, and we told him he should actually give those employees contract. And what they did, they had put, Mr. Speaker, those employees under a contractor who is being paid 18 million, and out of that, he's paying them 7,000, which is immoral, Mr. Speaker. And something needs to be done as far as these casuals and employees are concerned. Many counties, you will see that they have so many thousands and thousands of casuals where they don't care even the welfare of those members of staff. The money allocated to them from national government, where there is a ceiling of 35% by the national government, they don't adhere counties. Mr. Speaker, something needs to be done, and I think the relevant committee should be able to investigate on this matter and ensure that these guys are either procedurally terminated from their employment or there is violation of the legislations that are available. Mr. Speaker, and I think this committee needs, this House needs to crack their whips on these counties who are hiring casuals day in, day out. Every governor who comes in, he will come with his group of employees. And it is non-stop. You know, they are consuming a lot of budget. Most of them, they are not even doing relevant things. I remember there is a committee that appeared before, the County Assembly of Tana River appeared before us this week, either this week or last week. And they have passed their ceiling. The employees they have, they are actually casual workers who are unable even to deliver on the mandates of the Assembly. So, Mr. Speaker, something needs to be done, and we must stop these shenanigans where counties hire casuals non-stop, you know, without adhering to legislations that are available. I thank you, and I support Senator Faki. Pongezi, thank you.
Senator Wetangula.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I join Senator from Mombasa, distinguished Senator Faki, in voicing concern about poor workers who, for no fault of their own, find themselves abandoned, unappreciated, unpaid, and suffering. Mr. Speaker, we have a Ministry of Labor in this country whose responsibility includes protection of workers' interests regardless and wherever and whenever they are. And yet, when you look at the performance of the Ministry of Labor, you read about them on only two things. NSSF, I believe because there's a lot of money there, and once in a while, making incomprehensible noises about Kenyans working in the Middle East. They have completely abdicated their responsibility for the protection of the workers. We also have a problem, Mr. Speaker, with KOTU, an organization that is supposed to protect workers' interests. Their leader has abandoned his role and now plays sectarian and unhelpful politics everywhere, jumping onto any issue political except about workers. Cusco, Mr. Speaker, was placed under receivership. The committee that is going to look at this petition must get the receiver and get full information on what the receiver did with the workers, because when a receiver takes over the company, the interests of the workers don't extinguish, including but not limited to statutory payments of NSSF, NHIF, and so on. And as we look at this, Mr. Speaker, we also decry other places where workers have been abandoned. We have pan paper workers in Webuye, which, Mr. Speaker, you know, a company that was doing so well, all of a sudden went into turbulence, was eventually sold at a pittance, and workers, their families are languishing in abject poverty in the western town of Webuye. We have workers of Mumias Sugar who have not been paid for many, many months. The receiver who went there is busy negotiating to cut deals on who buys Mumias. He doesn't care about workers, Mr. Speaker. So the committee chaired by Senator for Nairobi, Senator Sakaja, when looking at this petition, should bring a comprehensive policy statement that can guide the country in how to deal with workers of this country, knowing that their umbrella organization called KOTU is only interested in collecting dues for their flamboyant living and don't protect or fight for workers anywhere. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Wario.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this chance. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to support the statement by my good friend, Senator Faki. Mr. Speaker, sir, it has come to a habit sacking workers, especially when it comes to county governments. Where I come from, so many workers were sacked, terminated, dismissed from their jobs. And this one has really impoverished the lives of families of these workers. Without a very good reason, these workers are being sacked. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, these people have some dependents, their families to depend on their salaries. If termination will just go on, A governor comes in, goes out, another governor comes in, sacks, he employs his own, the other one comes in, sacks. If this habit will continue, then, Mr. Speaker, sir, this country will not go anywhere. Therefore, I support. Thank you so much.
Senator Boy Issa. I thought Senator Imana.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Speaker. I'm used to saying Chair. Thank you, Speaker, for giving me the chance to contribute to this petition. I see from listening to other honorable members that this is a cross-cutting problem all over the country. There are casuals also in Turkana that have been dismissed, have not been paid for a long time. So I want to speak on behalf of these people that casuals and all workers are actually human beings like us and must be respected and must be paid for the energy they put in any field. The only time when you get somebody to work and you don't pay them is the time of slavery. Slavery is over with, and people at this time must be paid for the energy they put in work. If you get people to work, you must pay them. These people are mothers and fathers that want to send their children to school, they want to feed their children, they want to do other things. How are they supposed to manage if they are not paid? And when they are sent away, they must be paid for the time they put in that particular work. It's very inhuman to treat people like animals. People must be respected and paid for the work they have put in. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Senator Mudamo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity that I may support the statement of Senator Faki. I want to concur with my fellow senators that even in our counties, we are seeing a lot of irregularities of sacking employees, some of them working under very bad conditions, and some of them even working without pay. Like in Machakos County, my county, I have cleaners who are working for Machakos Hospital level 5, and they've not been paid for more than 6 months. We have the volunteer workers, you know, the community health volunteer workers who have not been paid for almost a year, for more than a year, and they are still there struggling. And there are many of these employees who are sacked even without notice. Some of them are sacked and they are not even paid their dues. And we want to say that these are family people. They have children to take care of, to take to school, to feed, to care for their medical, and also they have houses they've rented. They need rent. And so when they are sacked without notice, what do we expect them to do? Because they have those houses, they have all the needs that they have to supply for their family members. Surely the Ministry of Labor should take care of these employees, and I support this statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Finally, Senator Mazayo.
Asante, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, kwanza nataka kumshukuru sana Seneta ndugu yangu wa Mombasa, Mohamed Faki, kwa kuleta swala hili la wafanyikazi wa KUSCO. Bwana Spika, tunajua kabisa ya kwamba wafanyikazi 171 si nambari ndogo. Na tusiangalie wale wafanyikazi peke yake, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, hawa wafanyikazi hawa wako na familia, mabibi ndani ya nyumba, ndugu ndani ya nyumba. Kama unavyojua sisi wa Afrika lazima tuwe tunashirikiana, na saa nyingine unakuwa na baadhi ya wale watoto wa ndugu ambao mnakuwa nao, na vile vile wewe unakuwa na familia yako. Kwa hiyo familia za Kiafrika ni kubwa. Nikiangalia hii namba ya 171, Bwana Spika, hii ni namba kubwa. Ni namba ambayo ukiangalia mfanyikazi mmoja anaweza kuwa na watu karibu 100 na. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, ni madhambi au makosa makubwa sana kwa wafanyikazi waliokuwa wakifanya kazi katika hili shirika la chuma la KUSCO kukosa kulipwa ridhaa zao. Bwana Spika, pia tunaona ya kwamba Wizara ya Leba ama Wizara ya Wafanyikazi iliweza kuchukua hatua na ikaweka yule mtu ambaye anaitwa labor officer aangalie, na hatimaye akaona ya kwamba hawa walikuwa wamefutwa kiholela, na akahakikisha akasema ya kwamba walipwe na hii kampuni. Lakini tunaona ya kwamba hii kampuni walifanya uwerevu, kampuni ikauzwa, kampuni pengine ikageuzwa hata wale watajiri, na hatimaye kampuni ikafifia. Bwana Spika, tunaona mambo kama haya yanatendeka kila mahali katika nchi. Hata pande za huko Kilifi, makampuni mengi yanaweza kutumia wafanyikazi na baadaye wanafunga, wanaacha wafanyikazi wakiwa hali mbaya katika maisha yao. Ukiona familia kama hiyo, Bwana Spika, utaona ya kwamba kunao pia familia moja iko na mtoto wako familia moja ama hizi familia zote ziko na watoto ambao wako shule. Madhara kama haya ya kuachishwa kazi yanaleta hasara kubwa katika familia. Ndoa huvunjika, nyumba huvunjika, watoto huacha universities, wakawacha skuli. Jambo la kusikitisha ni kwamba wale watoto wa kike huwa katika hali mbaya zaidi, kwa sababu sasa hawana la kufanya na inabidi sasa waanze kufanya ile kazi nyingine ambayo sisi tunawaelimisha ili wasiifanye. Bwana Spika, jambo ambalo nataka kusisitiza pia katika maeneo yale ya EPZ, pia mambo kama haya yanatendeka mara nyingi. Kwa hiyo tunasema hichi ni kitendo cha kinyume, na ile kamati ambayo pia mimi niko ikiongozwa na ndugu yangu seneta wa Nairobi Sakaja, tunasema kwamba kitendo kama hichi ni lazima tukikemee na tufanye uchunguzi kwa kina, na hatimaye tuone ya kwamba hawa wafanyikazi wote 171 majukumu yamepatikana kutoka kwa wale watu wakuwa madirector katika hii KUSCO, ama wameshikwa na kuambiwa ni lazima walipe pesa hizi. Pesa zilizoko si kidogo. Pesa za watu 171 ni pesa zaidi ya milioni 12, na hizo si pesa kidogo tena kwa wakati huo. Kwa hiyo tunasema ya kwamba pesa hizi saa hizi pia ziko na faida yake. Ikiwa zitalipwa, basi pale wale madirector na kila mtu lazima ashurutishwe alipe pesa hizi. Asante Bwana Speaker.
Okay, honorable senators, by a way of a report addressed to the petitioner and laid on the table of the Senate, I thank you. Next order. Senator Kidiomi, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to present reports of the Committee of Lands, Environment, and Natural Resources, which have been conclusively deliberated and ready to be presented to this House. Mr. Speaker, the committee received 17 petitions committed by this House related to the mandate pursuant to Standing Order 232 of the Senate Standing Orders. The committee considered and has concluded 13 petitions. The committee is considering the remaining petitions and will be tabled to this House upon conclusion. Those are only 4 reports which have not been concluded. Otherwise, the other 13 have been concluded. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee thanks the offices of the Speaker of the Senate and the Clerk of the Senate for the support extended to the committee in the execution of its mandate. The committee extends the appreciation to the petitioners, the cabinet secretaries, and stakeholders for their submission and contribution to this resolution of these petitions. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is now my pleasant duty and privilege on behalf of the committee to present the following reports of the Standing Committee on Land, Environment, and Natural Resources on petitions committed to the committee. First is the report of the petition concerning the resettlement of internally displaced persons in Nyandarua County. Mr. Speaker, there are IDPs who have been settled at the Presidential Park at Olkalau and have been living there for a long time. And they have been, so it is our duty now, having presented the report, to ensure that the IDPs have been settled. They have been there for a long time. They don't know where to go. They have families. So we expect that the ministry, or rather the government of Kenya, is going to settle these IDPs. Mr. Speaker, among the other petition that I want to present to this House is on the alleged illegal encroachment of land covering the villages of Pagani, Nyatha, Kaisari, Mavuno, Promoko, and Witho in Lamu County by We2 Livestock Cooperative Society. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the sitting of the Senate held on 4th March 2021, Senator Anwar Oloitiptip, MP, reported to the Senate that a petition was submitted from representatives of White House, Progressive Community-based organization, and residents of Mavumo sublocation in Lamu County on the alleged illegal encroachment of land covering the villages of Pagani, Nyatha, Kuisari, Mavuno, Promoko, and Witho in Lamu County by Wito Livestock Cooperative Society. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee observed that land has been set aside for the settlement of the said squatters and recommended that the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning, together with the National Land Commission, ensure that proper and transparent plot demarcation, survey, and squatter verification program for settlement of the ground occupants is done and completed by 31st December 2021, and that a report be shared with the committee on the status. We expect that the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning and the National Lands Commission are going to assist these people. The plots should be demarcated and allocated to the right people, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, the next report is on the petition by Friends of Odiri, Wetland, Kenya, on the gazettement of Odiri Wetland in Kiambu County. Mr. Speaker, sir, At the sitting of the Senate held on 7th July 2020, Senator Isaac Mwaura, CBS MP, reported to the Senate that a petition had been submitted by Friends of Odiri Wetland, Kenya, regarding the gazettement of Odiri Wetland, Kiambu County. The committee observed that the Minister of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation was already in recognition of the same and was taking the necessary steps to initiate a formal protection status for Odiri wetlands. Further, that the Ministry of Environment and Forestry had already undertaken commendable steps towards addressing the matter. The committee, however, noted that there was a huge challenge of encroachment into the wetland swamp, which required to be addressed immediately. The Ministry of Water and Sanitation is addressing this issue, and we wish that the ministry is going to hasten the implementation of this issue of gazettement and ultimately gazette the wetlands. Mr. Speaker, sir, the other report is on the petition on delayed adjudication and settlement of squatters on Mashugwani land situated in Bogoni ward in Taveta constituency of Taita Taveta. Mr. Speaker, we have made a visit to this place in Taveta. This land used to belong to Honorable Criticals. The lease has expired, Mr. Speaker, and it is the wish of the people of Taveta that that land be allocated to squatters who are already on the land. And there has been problems because Criticals wanted the lease to be renewed, and those who are living on the land would not wish the lease to be renewed because they want the land to be allocated to the locals. So, Mr. Speaker, the wish of the recommendations of the committee are that the land should not be, the lease should not be renewed, and the land should be allocated to the squatters who have already settled on the land, Mr. Speaker, sir. And we are hoping that the National Lands Commission and the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning is going to implement the recommendations of the committee. Mr. Speaker, the next report is a petition on alleged illegal encroachment of community land by the School of Artillery, Kenya Defense Forces. Mr. Speaker, sir, this petition was brought to this House by Senator Fatuma Duro, CBS MP. It reported to the Senate that a petition has been submitted by residents of Garemare, Isiolo County, on the alleged illegal encroachment of community land by the School of Artillery, Kenya Defense Forces in Isiolo, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the committee conducted investigations and a site visit to Isiolo. The committee noted that the land was acquired by the Gazette Notice number 3210 of 1977, which required all applications for compensation by claimants to be submitted to the respective district commissioners at Isiolo. This is for purposes of compensation. Unfortunately, most of those living on the land did not send their applications to the district commissioner, and the committee has recommended that those who sent their applications before the expiry of the days given should be allocated the land. If not, they should be compensated, because it's only fair that if government is taking land that does not belong to it, then they should compensate those who are living on that land. And we have a lot of cases like that in Kenya, where land has been taken without compensation. And I think it's just time for government to know that those people will be suffering, and they have suffered, and they should be given due compensation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the report number 6 is a report on the petition regarding the acquisition of Karare land in Marsabit County by the Kenya Defense Forces. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the sitting of the Senate held on 23rd June 2020, the Honorable Speaker of the Senate reported to the Senate that a petition has been submitted by Redire and Saburu community representatives regarding the acquisition of Karare land in Marsabit County by the Kenya Defense Forces. The committee noted that the petitioners and other parties are actively pursuing this matter in court, which was not disclosed by the petitioners as required. The committee notes that KDF has extensively engaged the county government of Marsabit, the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife through KWS, and members of the local community. These engagements led to the downsizing of the land allocated to KDF from 5,000 hectares to 2,500 hectares. The committee recommended that the Ministry of Defense and the county government identify an alternative land for KDF in other areas where the locals are not opposed to. Opposed to KDF presence with proper public participation, and that Minister of Tourism and Wildlife objects to the acquisition of the part of Marsabit National Reserve by KDF to safeguard wildlife protected area, because there is a big area that is not covered by the residents, and KDF can be moved to that, to those other areas, and then leave the area they are covering for the Kenya Wildlife Services and the residents of Marsabit. The committee noted that the other petition, Mr. Speaker, sir, is a report on the petition by residents of Tideret Sub-County, Nandi County, on the operations of Karebe Gold Mining Limited in Nandi County. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the sitting of the Senate held on 25th September 2018, the Senate, Nandi County, Senator Samson Cherake, MP, presented to the Senate a petition by residents of Tedereti Sub-County, Nandi County, on the operations of Karebe Gold Mining Limited in Nandi County. The petition was thereafter committed to the Senate Committee on Labor and Social Welfare, but following considerations by the committee, it resolved to recommit the matter through the Speaker of the Senate to the Committee on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources, having noted that most of the matters raised in the petition touched its mandate. The committee noted that the Karebe Gold Mining Limited had operated on Mr. Chezeretarap Koriu's land for 10 years until its license expired in January 2019. And that a court ruling in favor of Mr. Cheselet Arab Korea ordered the company to vacate this land. Consequently, Karebe Gold Mining Limited stopped its operations and laid off the workers following the court ruling. The committee recommended that before renewal of the mining license to Karebe Gold Mining Limited, the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining should ensure that the company has fully addressed the concerns of the previous employees. And we think this is important. It is good for the employees at least to be taken care of, because, Mr. Speaker, there were many employees and they were all laid off. So, and we know how joblessness has affected this country. So we would wish those employees to be addressed, to be catered for. The committee recommended before the renewal of the, that's what I have already finished with. Mr. Speaker, the other report is on the petition concerning the alleged exchange and final transfer of titles for parcels of land known as Rari Nyakenywa, Solai Farm, located in Solai, Nakuru County, and Rio Bay Farm Limited, located in Gilgil, Nakuru County. The two farms wanted to exchange the titles. Unfortunately, one of the land had already been occupied by squatters, and it is becoming very difficult to remove or evict those squatters at the moment. So we are also urging government to ensure that they take care of that responsibility. So the committee recommended that the Ole Osono group living in the Solai Ruyo Bay Farmers Limited, having been established not to be the legitimate owner of the land by the court, vacates the land to allow occupation by Nyakenywa Land Buying Company, who are the legitimate owners of the land. Mr. Speaker, sir, the next report is a petition regarding the alleged unlawful encroachment and forceful occupation of Barwako plots within Burampia Ward, Madera East Constituency, Madera County. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the sitting of the Senate held on 16th May 2019, the Honorable Speaker of the Senate reported to the Senate that a petition has been submitted through the office of the clerk on the alleged unlawful encroachment and forceful occupation of Barwako plots within the Burampia Ward, Madera East Constituency, Madera County. Mr. Speaker, the committee conducted investigations and arrived at recommendations that are outlined in the report. The committee noted that there was no dispute that the petitioners were the rightful owners of the pieces of land and that the petitioners had no objection of the government acquiring the land through compulsory acquisition as long as they were adequately compensated. Mr. Speaker, the committee recommended that security forces can continue with the use of the campsites to safeguard the lives and properties of the people of Madera County, while the Ministry of Interior and coordination of national government should immediately commence compensation of the allottees in line with the laid down legal processes or vacate the land altogether, and that the National Land Commission monitors the compensation processes and give a status report within 4 months of tabling this report in the Senate. This is a case where the people who are settled on the land, who own the land, are not having a problem. The only thing that they want, because they realize that they need security and they need armed forces in that area. They cannot be safe without the armed forces. So they are saying, this land belongs to us. Compensate us, take the land and do what you want with it. So we think it is fair for government to ensure that these people are compensated. And I think this goes to the National Lands Commission. They should ensure that these people are compensated, and then they can still continue with the security forces occupying the land at the moment, so that they also ensure that the people living in Madeira are secure. Mr. Speaker, sir, the next report is a petition submitted by the Wajomfu community, Mombasa County, concerning the alleged historical land injustices involving plot number 162/V/MNCR1070 in Mombasa County. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the sitting of the Senate held on 4th August 2020, the Honorable Deputy Speaker of the Senate reported to the Senate that a petition had been submitted by the Wajomfu community, Mombasa County, concerning the alleged historical land injustices involving plot number 162/V/MNCR1070 in Mombasa County. The committee noted land reference 162/V/MN does not exist anymore, as 456 subdivisions have been done and titles are already given to members, and private subdivisions have been done and titles are already given private purchasers. Further, this matter was listed as a historical case that has been prioritized for investigations, hearing, and determination by the National Land Commission. Mr. Speaker, the committee recommended that the National Lands Commission expedites their investigation on the issue as a historical land injustice and give direction within 3 months of tabling this report in the Senate. The matter is being investigated as I'm presenting this report by the National Lands Commission, and I think it is going to give a fair judgment of the matter. We had a visit to Mombasa with the area senator, and we listened to the petitioners, and they have a case. So I'm of the opinion, and I would urge the National Lands Commission to ensure that justice is done to this matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, the next report is a petition regarding Mwakitao land ownership, dispute between Mwakitao residents and Isagawishi Group Ranch. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the sitting of the Senate held on 2nd July 2019, the Honorable Deputy Speaker of the Senate reported to the Senate that a petition had been submitted by residents of Taita Taveta County, Mwatate Sub-County, Mwakitao location, regarding Mwakitao land ownership dispute between Mwakitao residents and Isaga Wishi Group Ranch. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee concluded investigations at a site visit on 26 March 2021. The committee recommended that the Chief Land Registrar reviews the issuance of the title to the Mwakitao land to Isangawishi Group Ranch with a view to revoking it to ensure that effective public participation is undertaken, especially on residents occupying the land in question. Before title to the property is issued, and report back to the Senate within 6 months of the tabling of the report. Mr. Speaker, noting that the petition has also referred this matter to the National Land Commission, the committee recommended that the National Land Commission inquires into the matter and reports back to the Senate within 6 months from the tabling of this report. The committee further recommends that the DCI investigates the list of members of the Isangawishi Group Ranch to verify whether the persons listed exist and whether they are part of the community that has been in occupation or communal ownership of any land claimed by the ranch. Mr. Speaker, I think it is important to mention here that this case is already in court. The Isagawishi people have gone to court, and we do not know what is going to happen. We don't know the decision that is going to be made by the court. But however, this petition came to us before they went to court, and that is why we decided to go on with the case, hear the petitioners, and make recommendations to this House on what should be done. Mr. Speaker, sir, the next report is of residents of Musabweni Village in Voi Sub-County of Taita Taveta County regarding the alleged impeding evictions of Musabweni residents by a private company. Mr. Speaker, we went to Musabweni and we listened to the petitioners. This land belonged to Butter Shoe Company, and Butter Shoe Company also sold it. Now, the conditions in which Butter Shoe Company got this plot were that they were going to build a butter factory at that site. But Butter Company never built the butter company, but they instead sold the land to other people. And Mr. Speaker, CC investigate the circumstances leading to failure of adherence to the conditions of the grant of the Musabweni land to Butter Shoe Company Limited, and issuing a consent to the transfer of the land to Sparkle Properties Limited. The committee further recommends that the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Land and Physical Planning, and the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Interior and Coordination of National Government ensure that the residents of Musabweni are not evicted from the Musabweni land until the investigations are completed. The National Land Commission ensures that no funds for compensation for compulsory acquisition are released to Sparkle Properties Limited until conclusion of the investigations. This is a tricky case where Batashu company had been given conditions before the land was allocated to them. And one of the recommendations was that they should build a Batashu company, but not sell the land. Now, Batashu company found it prudent to sell the land to Sparkle Limited, and they did not seek permission from those who owned the property. So, Mr. Speaker, we are expecting that the recommendations of this committee are going to be followed and implemented by the government departments which are supposed to do so. Mr. Speaker, the next report is thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have already tabled the reports. They are at the front. They are with the clerk of the Senate, all of them. I have only two other ones to present, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, the next one is a report, a petition by residents of Musabweni village in Voi sub-county. I've dealt with that, so I go to the petition concerning the adverse effects of rock blasting at Thoake Dam. Mr. Speaker, sir, I do not wish to present this one because there's still one or two recommendations that we are making later, and this report can be presented by next week. Mr. Speaker, as you have heard, the Committee of Lands, Environment and Natural Resources has a lot of work and responsibility. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I would beg that this committee be given a little more fund to be able to move to all corners of this country investigating cases pertaining to land issues. Mr. Speaker, I beg to stop at that point.
Thank you. That was just a report. I can see people want to make comments on it. We have a very heavy order, so I'll just ask that we go to the next order. What's your point of order, Senator Kajwang?
Mr. Speaker, I think it would be fair on the Lands Committee if you just gave a minute or two for the House to commend the Lands Committee for bringing to this House reports on 12 petitions. And I don't think there's any other committee that has done so. And when you look at Senator Githiomi, you don't think he's capable of bringing 12 reports, but indeed, he has done better than any other committee chair in terms of dealing with petitions. Mr. Speaker, I think it's fair that the House registers its appreciation to this committee. And Mr. Speaker, maybe the only substantive thing I wanted to say is that in the Constitution, we have established the National Land Commission. And there's an Act of Parliament providing the powers of the National Lands Commission, which includes receiving petitions on issues of historical injustice, issues of eviction, issues of grants and leases. And Mr. Speaker, we must ask ourselves as a House, why is it that the public is preferring to come to the Senate to bring petitions to the Senate and not to take petitions to the National Lands Commission? And Mr. Speaker, the challenge I want to give the chair of the Lands Committee, who has already done an excellent job, is that before we close this House later on next year, we must ask ourselves whether the National Lands Commission we have and the manner in which it operates is a manner in which was envisaged in the Constitution, in the National Land Policy, because what Senator Githiomi is doing ideally should be the duty of the National Lands Commission. Congratulations, Senator Githiomi.
So those are allowed. Please keep the comments brief, Senator Dulo.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity, although I know normally you don't give comment on petitions tabled by the committees. Number one, I wish to take the same opportunity to congratulate Lands Committee chaired by Senator Githiomi. I went with them all the way to Isiolo, a whole day visit, but there is a small correction which I would want Senator Githiomi to correct. They have looked at Ngarmara, but they forgot a place called Burat, where KDF is also evicting people. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, this committee has been doing a great job, but the challenge they have been facing, the minister refused, and I'm using this word, in several sittings that we had with this committee, the minister refused to appear and respond to those issues. And that equally goes to NLC, where we requested for some information, which they purported to have compensated some individuals. They refused to submit those lists, which I think we need to follow up. And KDF. Finally, we have an issue of implementation of the report of our committees. This is a very good report. It's going to help Kenyans who are affected. But this committee, through your office, Mr. Speaker, and the clerk, it is important this report to be implemented as quickly as possible, so that who are facing eviction, they should be stopped and compensated if it's going to take place. I thank you.
Senator Munyahaji, sorry. Briefly.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi pia nachukua fursa hii kujiunga na maseneta wenzangu kumpongeza Senator Githiomi kwa kazi nzuri ambayo ameifanya. Aliwahi kuzuru sehemu ya Jomvu Kuu siku moja, na vile vile tukaenda mpaka Ukunda on the same day kwa siku hiyo, na tukimaliza ziara ya shamba ya Ukunda ilikuwa ni karibu saa 2 usiku. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, nampongeza kamati yake kwa kazi nzuri anayofanya, na pia ningependa kujiunga na Senator Dulo kusema kwamba kuwe na mwelekeo hii ripoti yake itatekelezwa vipi, kwa sababu masuala mengi ya ardhi yameweza kufa katika National Land Commission. Kwa hivyo hatungependa ripoti hii ambayo kamati imekaa ikafanya kazi kubwa alafu naenda kuisha katika shelves kama vile ripoti zingine zilivyowahi kufa. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Halake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was a member of the Lands Committee, and I can vouch and confirm that Chairman Githiomi, Senator Githiomi, is one of the most hardworking chairmen I know. One time, when he had to make sure that the communities get their service, he walked across and actually got hit by a boda because in trying to make sure that even he didn't use the vehicle because there was so much traffic, and he knew the communities were coming in the afternoon and had to definitely give answers to them. I mean, all of his hard work even and the good work he has done. This committee receives a lot of petitions, especially because of the land issues in this country, and this committee has done a wonderful job. I must say that with these reports, and as you've seen, these are not reports that were done lightly. They are very comprehensive, and Senator was at the, Chairman was at the center of all this, physically, hands-on, making sure that he goes to every office on foot sometimes when he has to. So congratulations, Senator. We are very proud of the work you're doing, but also as this Senate, I think we should be very proud that communities are now finding solace and finding answers and finding service in the Senate of Kenya than anywhere else, because the number of petitions that are coming to this House are testament to the fact that the people of Kenya trust the Senate to serve them. The people of Kenya know that the Senate is a place where the justice will be served to them in the issues they have here. So, Mr. Speaker, I congratulate the committee and thank you and support the reports.
Senator Olekina, we are finishing up.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Let me begin by also joining my colleagues to congratulate my dear friend Githiomi. And I do so because I know as a land committee, they had the highest number of petitions, I think 41. At some point they did 17, today you've tabled about 12. You still have 5 more to go, which is a good thing. As I congratulate you, I heard in your last submissions regarding the issue of the Oleosono group and the issue they have had with Nyakenywa. Mr. Speaker, this is a matter that I would still request my good friend, Senator Githiomi, to look at the historical issues relating to how the two lands were being swapped. There is another group that had not been discussed on. So I know once you release the report to the petitioners, it will come back here because the public participation which was carried out required the Nyakenywa group to be compensated. So, Mr. Speaker, I would really seek my good friend to really follow up to ensure that apart from the Osono group vacating the land, because it's an issue of 8,000 acres, and you remember, that 8,000 acres they lived in, they are living there right now. This Nyakenywa group does not live there. Their land was actually taken away in Solai. So the issue of that land has got to be resolved in a way that the public participation group, among the 3 groups, had agreed. It is an issue of compensation. So, Mr. Speaker, I'd really like to beseech my good friend to relook at that issue, because my friend, Senator Kajuang, talked about the issue of implementation. Yes, the citizens are coming to this house to seek support. But what happened when we give out recommendation that disfranchise on one particular group and benefit another group, yet the historical injustices are not looked at that affected, that caused that problem? So, Mr. Speaker, I really would like to urge my friend to follow up instead of that group vacating, because how do you vacate people who have been buried there, people who live there? You know, you can't. And now bring in other people who live in Kiambu to go and take over that land. It continue bringing conflict. Recently, somebody was killed in that area. So the only way is to go with that land compensation, which is what the 3 groups had agreed to do. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I hope that the distinguished Senator Githiomi and his committee will really pursue so that these people can be given justice. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, that's all. Let's go to the next order. Please.
Order number 5, papers.
Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, 7th July 2021. Number 1, report of the East Africa Legislative Assembly Committee on Communication, Trade and Investment on the capacity building for members held between 22nd to 25th October 2020 in Arusha, Tanzania. Number 2, report of the East Africa Legislative Assembly Committee on general purpose on the capacity building workshop to enhance the capacity of members in legislative and budget oversight held between 26th to 29th October 2020 in Arusha, Tanzania. 3, report of the East Africa Legislative Assembly Committee on Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution on the capacity building of members held between 26th to 29th October 2020 in Arusha. 4thly, report of the East Africa Legislative Assembly Committee on Legal Rules and Privileges on the oversight activity on compliance with the East African Cooperative Protocol and laws by EAC institution phase 2 held between 1st to 5th November 2020 in Arusha. And finally, report of the East Africa Legislative Assembly Committee on accounts to assess the status of implementation of the Assembly recommendations on the EAC audited accounts for the East African Court of Justice and East African Community Competition Authority for the financial year ended 30th June 2017 and 2018, held virtually between 17th to 21st January 2021 in Arusha, Tanzania. I thank you.
Okay, I have our communications, honorable senators. Take your seat. Order. Order, senators, I have a communication. Honorable senators, standing order number 240,
provides for the procedure on reports of the East African Legislative Assembly and the Pan-African Parliament. Standing Order number 242 provides that the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunities, and Regional Integration shall consider bills or acts, reports or records of debate of the East African Legislative Assembly or the Pan-African Parliament and submit its report to the Senate with its own recommendations, if any, within 21 days from the date of submission of such bills or acts, reports or records of debates. Further, Standing Order number 243 provides that whenever the clerk receives copies of the report, of the records of the relevant debates of the meetings of the East African Legislative Assembly or copies of bills introduced into the East African Legislative Assembly and acts of the East African Community, the clerk shall forward such records of debates, bills, or acts of the community to the relevant committee, being the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity, and Regional Integration. Honorable Senators, you may recall that yesterday, Tuesday, 6 July 2021, the following papers from the East African Legislative Assembly were tabled in the Senate. 1, the East African Community Sexual Reproductive Health Bill. A report of the East African Legislative Assembly Committee on Agriculture, Tourism and Natural Resources on the oversight activity on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on food security in the East African Community, EAC, adopted at the 5th meeting of the 4th session of the 4th Assembly held between 9th to 29th May 2021 in Arusha, Tanzania. And 3, report of the East African Legislative Assembly Committee on accounts on the status of implementation of the Assembly recommendations on the East African Community, audited accounts for the East African Health Research Commission and the East African Kiswahili Commission for the financial year ending 30th June 2017 and 2018, adopted at the 5th meeting of the 4th session of the 4th Assembly held between 9th to 29th May 2021 in Arusha, Tanzania. Additionally, the following reports from the East African Legislative Assembly have now been tabled by the Senate Majority Leader. 1, report of the East African Legislative Assembly Committee on Communication, Trade and Investment on the capacity building for members held between 22nd to 25th October 2020 in Arusha, Tanzania. 2, report of the East African Legislative Assembly Committee on general purpose on the capacity building workshop to enhance the capacity of members in legislative and budget oversight held between 26th and 29th October 2020 in Arusha. 3, report of the East African Legislative Assembly Committee on regional affairs and conflict resolution on the capacity building of members held between 26th to 29th October 2020 in Arusha, Tanzania. And 4, report of the East African Legislative Assembly Committee on legal rules and privileges on the oversight activity on compliance with the EAC protocols and laws by East Africa institutions, phase 2 held between 1st to 5th November 2020 in Arusha, Tanzania. Report of the East African Legislative Assembly Committee on accounts to assess the status of implementation of the Assembly recommendations on the EAC audited accounts for the East African Court of Justice and East African Community Compensation Authority for the financial year ended 30th June 2017 and 2018, held virtually between 17th to 21st January 2021 in Arusha, Tanzania. Honorable Senators, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Orders number 242, I direct the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration to consider these reports and bills and table reports thereon with recommendations, if any, within the stipulated timeline of 21 days for consideration by the Senate pursuant to Standing Order number 244. Going forward, I direct the clerk, as he discharges his obligations under Standing Order number 243 by forwarding such reports or bills from IALA, to also make arrangements for tabling of the same documents for the information of the Senate as the committee proceeds to interrogate the documents. I thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, statements.
Senator George Khaniri.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I'm making a statement on the increased rate of unemployment caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Speaker, I need to notify you that there's a little variation to the statement that you approved because of statistics. You remember this is a statement you approved a couple of months ago, but then statistics have changed, so I have just incorporated the new statistics. Otherwise, the statement remains the same. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to the provisions of our Standing Order number 47, paragraph 1, I rise to make a statement on an issue of general topical concern, that is the increased rate of unemployment and economic hardship caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Speaker, the COVID-19 pandemic came with a lot of loss and drastic negative effects in the people's daily lives. The biggest effect has been loss of income felt by the businesses, employers and employees. The pandemic has exacerbated the unemployment situation in the country, leaving a significant number of people, especially the youth, jobless. The rate of unemployment and underemployment in Kenya has been high, but the COVID-19 pandemic has worsened it significantly. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the economic front, the worst hit sectors are the tourism, transport, horticulture, and communication. In addition, small businesses and the self-employed in all sectors have not had it any easier either. Due to the lockdown measures imposed to curb the spread of the virus, business operations have had to reduce significantly, thus greatly affecting small businesses' profits. Whereas before people could conduct their businesses for as long as they wanted, the curfew brought limitation to that. The pandemic has forced many businesses in the country to lay off staff, slash employees' salaries, and for some, to close down. Mr. Speaker, according to a report released by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics on the 1st of September 2020, Mr. Speaker, this was 6 months into the pandemic, the unemployment rate had doubled to 10.4% as compared to 5.2% in March of 2020. This percentage could have gone higher because it's now one year, 4 months into the pandemic. As many as 1.7 million Kenyans, as of September 2020, had lost their jobs due to the pandemic. We can only imagine how much worse the situation is now. According to the same report, the number of employed individuals in Kenya had shrunk from 17.8 million to 15.9 million. More worrying, Mr. Speaker, is that the age bracket affected the most by unemployment are our youth, ranging from 20 years to 29 years. Mr. Speaker, in his remarks in August 2020, His Excellency the President, Uhuru Kenyatta, expressed optimism that Gen U will intervene in this situation by assisting the government in unlocking the potential of Kenya youth. Mr. Speaker, Gen U is a United Nations youth empowerment program that was launched in 2018 with the goal of ensuring that young people aged 10 to 24 years are either in school, training, or employment by the year 2030. However, not much of this is being seen 10 months after the promise was made. Our youth are still suffering, and those in self-employment are still facing harsh realities. Over the period of the pandemic, the government rolled out Kazi Mtaani, but even that has not been sustainable, Mr. Speaker, as we all know. The news that the international financial institutions have proposed a freeze of employment by the government as a precondition for external borrowing will definitely compound this crisis. The containment measures by the government are hurting the people too. For instance, as much as the curfew is a necessary health protocol, the government needs to be alive to the plight of certain small-scale business people, such as fishermen, fishmongers who operate at night. Mr. Speaker, The COVID-19 pandemic and the attendant unemployment crisis has led to other societal problems such as drug and alcohol abuse, mental health problems, crime, murder, and suicides, which we all see on our television sets. I believe economic recovery should be a structured and planned process. As the national legislative body and leaders in the country, we should have this structured conversation on economic recovery post-pandemic. The current budget for the financial year 2021-2022, titled Building Back Better, should be implemented to ensure economic recovery and growth. If we do not look out for the people of Kenya, especially the youth, then, Mr. Speaker, I wonder who will. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
We have so many statements, so I'll really limit the intervention so that we have more statements being raised. Senator Wetangula.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll be very brief. Yesterday, Senator Haniri brought a statement on the management of the pandemic in the country. Today, it is the effects of the pandemic on the country. And I have no doubt, Mr. Speaker, that it enjoins all senators in this House that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused severe stress in our country, particularly in terms of restricting opportunities for earning a living, self-employment, and in effect, direct employment. Mr. Speaker, take out, for example, a fisherman on Lake Victoria, and my colleagues from the Lake region can bear me out. Fishermen go out fishing at 6, 7 in the evening and come back with their catch at 6, 7 in the morning. There is a curfew in that region running from 7 p.m., meaning that those fishermen can no longer sojourn into the lake to go and bring fish to earn a living and to keep the economy running. Border riders, Mr. Speaker, particularly now in the western region, the 8 or so counties of Mutembei, Migori, Siaya, Kisumu, Bungoma, Kericho, Uasin Gishu, Vihiga, Kakamega, Trans Nzoia. Border riders who depend on riding their motorcycles to earn a living can now no longer do, because from 7, it's closed down. And they cannot be seen to be riding, carrying passengers, carrying goods, and transferring services from one place to another. Therefore, they cannot look after their families. Mr. Speaker, when we have a situation like this, Madam Speaker, one would expect a Marshall Plan that will take care of the stress in families. We were told, Madam Speaker, last year that there was a special fund of several billions, I think it was 6 to 7 billion for the tourism industry. We have not had any report on how this money was spent. Hotel owners in tourist establishments are not the only service providers in the tourism industry setup. If it is somebody who has a roadside eatery in Nyeri or Mutembei or Bungoma or Isiolo, they need to be also taken care of so that they benefit from this fund that has been set up. Above all, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, as I finish, we want also the counties. The money that has been sent to counties for COVID intervention, all you meet governors is they tell you they have put into hardware, they have bought beds that have not even been put to good use, they have squandered the money on this or that, they have spent money on seminars, awareness, and all manner of things, yet people are suffering. And when you ask them, who have you been making aware of COVID? Because everybody now knows about COVID. They don't even tell you, Madam Speaker, and the money is gone. So we need the committee responsible. And I understand from yesterday's proceedings that you directed, Madam Speaker, that we need the ad hoc committee back. The leadership of this House, Senator Dulo is sitting here, I don't see anybody on the minority side, must come together quickly and reconstitute the ad hoc committee that can report to this House on a weekly basis on the management of COVID funds, because the COVID billionaires are not limited to those who swindled KEMSA. There are other COVID billionaires out there in the counties that are frisking away money meant for helping Madam Speaker. On a light touch, Madam Speaker, I'm told my distinguished colleague from Nyeri.
Order, honorable member.
Madam Speaker, let me end here by urging that from your yesterday's direction, we want by Tuesday next week the leadership to table a list of members who reconstitute the COVID intervention ad hoc committee that can monitor this and report to the House on a regular basis, the way the committee led by my distinguished nephew, Senator Sakaja, used to do. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Sakaja Johnson Arthur, Senator for Nairobi County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, indeed, if you look at the effects right now of the economy and employment, we have a problem. And Madam Speaker, I'm grateful for Senator Kanire for raising this. There are many sectors that are hard hit. Just yesterday, my committee was meeting members of the creative economy. These are musicians, artists, filmmakers, and because of the nature of the curfew, the nature of these COVID restrictions, you can imagine for 2 years, our artists and musicians have not been getting anything. And those who perform, in restaurants and clubs. Madam Speaker, there was 100 million shillings that was given by the President. But that, in as much as we're grateful and they're happy, that was a drop in the ocean for this very important sector. Madam Speaker, there are certain measures that the government had put in place, including tax relief, and you've heard us calling for reduction of some of these taxes. The examples given by Senator Wetangula about eateries and this, people in small restaurants, you can imagine now that they have to spend 2,600 for a 13 kg cylinder of gas. Gas has gone up by 350 shillings. And when the proposal by the Finance Act last year was postponed by 1 year in the National Assembly, unfortunately we don't deal with tax in the Senate, but as Speaker, we must reconsider and urge and appeal to the National Assembly to actually bring back those reliefs. On VAT, by 2% or even possibly by 5%, on pay-as-you-earn by 5%, and these are the levies of excise, Madam Speaker, including now on airtime, need to be considered, because this is when we're really feeling the effects of COVID, considering, Madam Speaker, that now inflation is at a 13-month high at 6.32%. The cost of living, Madam Speaker, many Kenyans all over, many Kenyans are suffering. And maybe those sitting here might not realize it, but Madam Speaker, those small amounts, the change in the price of fuel, the change in the price of gas, 350, they affect people. People must have to make a decision. Those people who are earning less than 500 shillings a day, they now have to decide on what to use that money for. So, Madam Speaker, I hope that as Senator Wetangula has proposed, we can have that committee, an ad hoc committee on COVID reinstated with fresh faces, because we had a bird's eye view. There was no other institution in this country that had a bird's eye view on all the aspects, the 9 areas, economic areas, social issues, justice issues, everything that goes hand in hand with the COVID pandemic. And let it not just be that we're talking, let us propose specific interventions that are measurable, and that, Madam Speaker, we can be able to see what has come out of it after after those interventions. So thank you for this statement, Senator Kaniri, but let's now turn it into some action. The easiest thing for us to say and to give a resolution as a Senate is to ask for the lowering of those taxes and those costs on basic commodities like gas, Madam Speaker, when you're talking about what people use on a day-to-day basis. let us have a resolution that then can be forwarded to the National Assembly as a message so that they can review the Finance Act of 2021. Thank you.
Senator Gertrude Musuruve.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to support this statement from Senator Haniri. And Senator Haniri has come up with a statement that is timely. And Honorable Speaker, it is quite clear that COVID has really brought a lot of inequality in this country. And there has been, a very negative impact, economically, that COVID has come up with, and there's need for us to look for innovative ways of ensuring that we bounce back to economic boost. Honorable Speaker, when it comes to the impact of COVID, it has negatively impacted all sectors economically. When you're talking of unemployment, we can see it even in education. Like private schools, some of them closed, and when they closed, those teachers became redundant. In some areas like tourism, some eateries, Senator Sakaja says, were also closed, meaning that all the workers also were sent home, Honorable Speaker. And it is not only this area, because when it comes to even air transport, we see that there are some areas like Kenya Airways laid off some staff, not because they wanted to, but because of the impact of COVID. So there's need for us to see as a country, how can we bounce back to economic recovery and perform well globally. And especially, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to the impact of COVID and employment, it has also affected the youth heavily, because the youth have the energy and they have the zeal to work. But you can imagine youths who are idle, they're not doing anything, they can end up getting into undesirable behavior that will impact also negatively in our country. And so there's need for mechanisms of ensuring that we come to economic recovery so that we also do not have unnecessarily, high taxes, especially on means of transport, issues of fuel. Issues of fuel should be reconsidered, Honorable Speaker, because when fuel is high, it means that it will affect also many areas economically. Like, for example, when fuel is high, it means that vehicles will not be on the road as they have always been, and the transport will be high, so everyone will be affected, and the youths also will not be working. And even in the matatu industry, there are some youths also who have become redundant because the matatus they've been operating are not able to operate, and the number of people they need to carry also minimal, Honorable Speaker. So as a country, we must do something. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Honorable Senators, I would like to plead with you to keep the comments very brief, because we have a lot, and there's a lot of interest on some of these statements. Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'll be very brief and to the point. Whenever we lament or whenever we complain about the cost of living, Kenyans out there throw their daggers at us. And even though there are few...
Sorry, Senator. Honorable Senators, I don't think it would be appropriate for us to be discussing COVID, and yet ourselves we don't even obey the rules of COVID, starting with Senator Olekina. Okay. We expect all senators on the floor, and I will only allow those ones who are properly wearing the mask.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll be brief, and I'll finish. And I encourage everyone to wear their masks, including myself, and I will certainly try. It becomes very difficult to speak. But actually, one of the things to point out, Madam Speaker, is that I'm happy that I've received both my doses. And in the Western world, in America now, if you've received both your COVID vaccines, you can be able to walk out without a mask. So this is science, and it is being improved. To get back to my point, Madam Speaker, the point that I was trying to raise was that we lament, we raise concerns about the cost of living, and people out there, there could be 2, 10, 20 of them, they throw their daggers right back at us and saying, if you the members of parliament who are tasked with the responsibility of passing laws, you know, raising taxes, lowering taxes, complain, then who are we left to look up to be able to bring changes? And Madam Speaker, the biggest problem and the biggest lacuna we have in our legislative role as members of parliament, particularly the Senate, is that we play no role in the Finance Act. When the National Assembly is passing the Finance Act, they sit there, the Budget Committee sits there, they decide to introduce another 5% excise duty on all the services which are out there. Today, Madam Speaker, if you do not know, which I'd like to remind you, is that the cost of even browsing the internet has gone up now because of the fact that a new tax has been introduced, which is an excise tax. And if you don't know, I'm sure your telco will be calling you today or sending you a message and telling you there's a 20% excise tax on your data. So businesses will continue hunting. Madam Speaker, I thank Senator Haniri for reminding us that we are now sitting in a time bomb. If you look at the waiters, the bartenders, most of them are out unemployed. The cost of security in this country is going to go up high. Madam Speaker, when you drive on these highways, you'll find people out there waiting to carjack because they need food, because they cannot be able to survive. So I think this should be a message to the National Assembly that when you are passing these laws, please take some time and read them. Read what you're passing. When the executive proposes that you pass certain legislation, please ask yourself 10 questions. Why am I doing this? How will this impact the people on the ground? So, Madam Speaker, this issue, like for me, as an example, this is the time when in Narok County, we actually enjoy the great migration. But no, tourists will not come there, so we'll not be able to get money. Because Kenya, Madam Speaker, is the country that has reported the highest number of COVID infections in the region. In Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, Kenya has the highest number. So of course, more people will continue being affected. I support the idea of bringing back the ad hoc committee on COVID to look at everything that affects it. I sit in the health committee and we have attempted to be able to push the Ministry of Health to ensure that they bring all the vaccine that comes in so that those vaccines, you know, can be able to get to the people. The only time that will reach the herd immunity level, Madam Speaker, is when the Ministry of Health and the executive become a little bit liberal and allow the private sector to play its key role in trying to ensure that they bring in all the vaccines they can be able to bring into the country. The best vaccine, Madam Speaker, I reiterate, is the vaccine in your body. Any vaccine that you get is the one that will help us be able to reach that herd immunity. But when we control, I want to predict the following, that very soon we'll have another KEMSA COVID vaccine scandal. We had a KEMSA COVID funds scandal. Now, since the other vaccines which are coming in are coming through KEMSA, expect to get another huge scandal. So, Madam Speaker, as we sit here and we talk, let us remember that the only thing we can do is to continue raising these matters. We lobby our colleagues at the National Assembly who have the sole responsibility to pass laws, to pass taxes in this country, to think about the effect of the new Finance Act. And we know the government is broke, they need money. But now, we are faced with that situation where our people are jobless, so insecurity is high, number of people who are being kidnapped is high. Then we're also faced with the issue that we have to ensure that our people get jobs. So, Madam Speaker, I hope that when we talk about this and when we raise these concerns, someone out there should listen, that unless you lower those taxes, unless you give opportunities to people across the country, if you favor one part and you leave the other part, the people from the other part which have not been favored will come after you. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Nderitu John Kinyua.
Asante Bwana Speaker kwa kunipa fursa hii. Nataka kumpongeza Senator Haniri kwa kuleta taarifa hii. Na Speaker, ningependa kusema ya kwamba taarifa hii kwa kamati ambayo itakayopewa waishughulikie kwa umuhimu ufaao. Kwa sababu Speaker, ukiangalia taarifa yenyewe ina umuhimu kabisa na mambo ambayo yanasumbua vijana wetu. Ukosefu wa kazi baada ya ugonjwa huu wa corona kuja umekuwa ni kizungumkuti. Ukitembea sehemu nyingi, kazi nyingi, hasa hawa ndugu zetu wa bodaboda na wale ambao wanauza jioni, Speaker. Lakini kwa sababu ya hii kafyu ambayo inawekwa, inakuwa ni vigumu sana kwa watu kuweza kufanya kazi. Kwa hivyo unaona wanakosa ajira. Wale ambao wanategemea hawa ni wale wazee, na wale wazee ndio wanaathiriwa zaidi na huu ugonjwa wa corona. Kwa hivyo wale ambao wangeweza kuwasaidia angalau kwa kuwanunulia dawa, kwa sababu hao wazee wana magonjwa tofauti, wanakuwa ni vigumu kuwanunulia wale wengine dawa. Kwa hivyo unapata wale wazee wanaendelea kufa na ugonjwa ilhali huko, kwa hivyo unaendelea kuathiri zaidi. Kwa hivyo kamati ambayo itakapatiwa fursa hii ya kuangalia mambo haya wanapaswa shughulikie zaidi, na nimesikia kwamba kuna paswa kuwa na kamati ambayo ni ad hoc kamati. Mimi naunga mkono, kwa sababu pengine watakuwa na yale majukumu, badala ya kulenga kila mahali watakuwa na majukumu ambayo watakuwa kilenga tu hasa masuala ambayo yanashughulikiwa na ugonjwa huu wa corona. Lakini inapaswa ijulikane wazi, umuhimu wa serikali ni kushughulikia wananchi wake. Wakati huu kuna hili janga, serikali inapaswa ipunguze riba kwa ukiangalia kama kwa mfano ukiangalia kwa mfano kitu kama gas, unapata ya kwamba riba yake imeenda juu. Speaker, ukiangalia hizi kadi ambazo zinatumika za kuweza kuwasiliana, hiyo inaenda juu. Na hayo wananchi wa kawaida wanategemea, hiyo ndio tegemeo lao. Lakini serikali inaonekana kana kwamba haina haja na wananchi wake, kwa sababu wao wanaendelea kutaka kuchukua ushuru kila mahali, ilhali wananchi wanaendelea kusononeka. Na ushuru unapochukuliwa, kama vile nakumbuka Senator Wetangula alivyosema, baada ya sisi kugawa mgao wa pesa hapa na kupeleka katika kaunti zetu, magavana kazi ambao wanashughulika ni kusema ya kwamba wanafanya majukumu ya kuwezesha wananchi kujua kuhusu corona, ilhali kila mtu yuko katika sehemu ya Kenya anajua corona. Kwa hivyo hakuna haja ya kusema kwamba unahamasisha wananchi kuhusu corona. Unapaswa kutengeneza hospitali zetu, ilhali wagonjwa wakienda katika zile hospitali wapate dawa, wapate vitanda na wapate vifaa ambavyo vinahitajika. Lakini vile ambavyo nimekuwa nikiangalia Bwana Speaker, na nakubaliana na ndugu yangu Haniri, ni sisi vile alivyoleta ile taarifa, tujifunge kibwebwe, tupambane na hii hali, na itawezekana tukitengeneza hii kamati ndogo ama hili jopo ndogo ya kuweza kuangalia hayo mambo kwa mapana na marefu. Asante Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Kirinyaga Ephraim Mwangi Maina.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I like to add to the voices of the majority here regarding the issue of COVID and the effects to this country and the way we have also behaved towards it. Mr. Speaker, there is no doubt COVID is real and it has really affected our people, Madam Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, what we expected, Mr. Speaker, I have not seen it in actual fact implemented. Mr. Speaker, and in this time, thank you, Bwana Kaniri. Sorry, Madam Speaker. Yes. Now, I'm saying that in our society, for example, the taxation today has gone to the lowest level, Madam Speaker. Simple things, Madam Speaker. I remember we in my committee raising the issue about the gas. Madam Speaker, when you see these small things called the MECO, the kind of prices now people are being charged for the gas, you really sympathize, because some
very low class people, that's what they rely on to get any form of energy, their cooking, their everything. Madam Speaker, the cost of fuel keeps rising, Madam Speaker, in this particular time. When people's salaries have been reduced to half, public service goes up, Madam Speaker, and these are the kind of measures that I would expect it to be done. Even leading from the bigger nations of democracy like America, they have put in measures to try actually and support their people, their economy in this particular time. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I think that is the kind of program we should expect, Madam Speaker. Secondly, Madam Speaker, I must stand here and condemn the so-called KEMSA, theft or billionaires, Madam Speaker, because, Madam Speaker, we were given PPEs by some rich man from China. Yeah, Jeremiah is, okay, thank you, Senator Wetangula, but we were given PPEs, but the story that came, nobody could tell where they are, what happened, Madam Speaker. These are very sad things. And Madam Speaker, when you read the whole story, we would have expected from the very beginning, we would have actually put our might into trying to procure as much vaccines as possible, Madam Speaker. But to this day, we have only vaccinated about 1 million people. That leaves a lot of medical people, that leaves a lot of our other frontline workers, and many other citizens, Madam Speaker. Therefore, I want to call upon our country that let us at this time leave everything else. Let's leave building a road, let's leave doing any other gigantic project and procure vaccines so that we can vaccinate a big population of our people, Madam Speaker. And finally, Madam Speaker, I really sympathize with the really low cadre of people. The county governments are doing nothing. If anything, they are increasing tax after tax. Today, you are told, even as some businessman with a pickup who tries to buy potatoes from Nyandarua, he wants to take the potatoes to Kisumu. Every county he is passing, he is being charged a fee, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, these are the kind of things I would have thought that we as a people, we as a government should be able to do something. And the county government must come in and they actually prioritize the issue of fighting COVID as much as and supporting the people. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I want to support that the ad hoc committee for COVID should be activated and come up with a clear report and the measures on what should be done. And let me add here, anybody who might have been associated with actually somehow squandering the COVID money should be dealt with in the most ruthless manner because it was tantamount to murder. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Senator Mwaruma, what is your point of order?
Before the substantive speaker left, he had given direction that we regulate the number of contributions in a statement because of the heavy workload that is before us. Will it be in order to request that because we have statements that have been lying here for months, that we regulate the number of contributions so that we can have opportunity to have our statements read? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Senator, we are going to do that because we have several statements, and like yesterday, we did nothing except the statements, and there's a lot of work for the House to do in terms of motions and bills. So I'm going to regulate it. I think we give Senator Matsayo, please make your brief comments, and then we should bring that to an end and move forward.
Asante Bispika. Bispika, asante kwa kunipatia nafasi hii, na pia ningependa kumsifu ndugu yangu Kaniri kwa kuleta statement yake hii, hususan kuhusikana na mambo ya corona. Tunaelewa Bispika ya kwamba ni karne moja kuanzia sasa ambapo ugonjwa huu ulikuwa hauko katika ulimwengu, lakini karne hii tumefika sasa, imeleta maradhi ya aina ya corona ambayo yameweza kuleta huzuni katika familia nyingi sana, si katika Kenya peke yake, lakini ulimwengu mzima. Bispika, hatari ambao serikali yetu ambao haijazingatia ni kwamba haijatia mkazo zaidi kuhusikana na vile inaweza kuzingatia watu wa Kenya wanaweza kuishi kwa hali ya afya namna gani ili waweze kuepukana na hili janga la corona. Bispika, tukiona ya kwamba watu wengi, Wakenya wengi wameweza kupoteza kazi. Kazi zilikuwa zikifanywa kuanzia asubuhi mpaka jioni, sasa siku hizi zinafanywa na watu, kama zilikuwa zikifanywa na watu 100, sasa watu wamepunguzwa ndani ya maofisi, wamekuwa watu 50. Tumeona shida nyingi sana katika nyumba nyingi zimetokea, na hili si jambo la kawaida katika maisha yetu kama Wakenya. Tumeambiwa tuvae hizi barakoa, Bispika, lakini barakoa peke yake hazitafaa kama ufisadi wa kuzingatia jinsia hizi dawa ambazo zinaletwa kama msaada katika Kenya. Na sisi wenyewe pia serikali yetu inatenga pesa za kwenda katika mashinani. Tumeona kwamba hizi COVID, watu wanaoitwa COVID billionaires, siku hizi zamani walikuwa maskini, lakini kwa sababu ya huu ugonjwa wa corona, watu sasa kutumia, badala ya kusaidia wananchi, wanatumia hii misaada ama pesa ambazo zimepelekwa katika serikali zetu mashinani katika mifuko yao. Na tunasema kwamba hili si jambo zuri. Ingekuwa serikali itie mkazo na iweze kuweka mikakati maalum ya kuweza kuona hizi pesa ikiwa zinapelekwa katika mashinani zinatumika katika kusaidia wale wananchi ambao wanapelekewa hizi pesa. Na mwisho, Bispika, ni kwamba ile kamati tuliokuwa nayo hapo awali ya ad hoc committee ama ile jopo ambalo tulikuwa tumelitenga sisi la kuweza kuletea ripoti hususan maalum, tunasema kwamba ikiwa hivi sasa tunaweza kuweka mkazo zaidi na tuweze kuweka njia maalum, nafikiria Wakenya wangependelea kwamba bunge la Senate liweze kuwapatia njia mwafaka ambayo hizi dawa ama njia ya kutumia hizi dawa na kupunguza ufisadi katika serikali na zile serikali zetu za ugatuzi zingeweza kuwafaa Wakenya. Asante Speaker.
Thank you, Senators. I don't see Senator Sylvia here for the next statement. Sylvia Kasanga is not in. And the next one is Senator Musuruve to make a statement. I will only allow 2 comments per statement for the sake of time, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to make this statement concerning menstrual health management. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 47-1 to make a statement on a matter of national concern, namely menstrual health management. Honorable Speaker, in 2012, several organizations involved in public health began to break the silence on menstrual health management, and it was initiated by the German-based NGO WASH United in 2014. The main aim of marking this day is to change the social stigma and taboo associated with menstruation. Honorable Speaker, it is important to highlight the importance of good menstrual hygiene management at the national and global level. In developing countries, women's choices of menstrual hygiene materials are often limited by the costs, availability, and social norms. Menstrual hygiene management can hence be extremely challenging for females in developing countries where clean water and toilet facilities are often inadequate. Honorable Speaker, Females with disabilities face even greater challenges during this moment, especially given the fact that many times they're isolated and discriminated, and in the process they lack information regarding menstrual hygiene and management. Honorable Speaker, in most traditional cultures, menstruation is not discussed openly by parents and caregivers. It is left to schools to disseminate the information. In the event that the school does not disseminate information on menstrual hygiene, the girl child ends up not knowing how to manage herself. This can have a direct impact on their health, education, and dignity. Honorable Speaker, the Menstrual Hygiene Day is meant to serve as a platform to bring together individual organizations, social businesses, and the media to create a united and strong voice for women and girls. The objective of Menstrual Hygiene Day includes some of the following. 1, address challenges and hardships many women and girls face during their menstruation. 2, highlight the positive and innovative solutions being taken to address these challenges. 3, engage in policy dialogue and actively advocate for the integration of mental hygiene management into local, national, and global policies and programs. Honorable Speaker, as the world marks MHM, that is Menstrual Hygiene Management Day, I urge both the national and county governments to be more proactive in coming up with sustainable ways of ensuring that girls and women, especially those that come from disadvantaged families, are able to access water, their menstrual time. County governments ought to incorporate menstrual health management programs in the annual budgets and programs in order to build the capacity of girls and women in menstrual hygiene management matters. They should have a program for supporting girls and women in the counties on this matter. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Abshiro. Senator Abshiro, please make your comment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank Senator Musuruve for this very, very timely intervention on behalf of people with disabilities, but also on behalf of all women and girls with regards to menstrual hygiene and menstrual hygiene management. Madam Speaker, a few months ago, or a year or so ago, we were speaking about taxation of periods. Madam Speaker, even where I know she talked about the lack of information and lack of facilities, but even where the facilities and the information exist, it's out of reach for most women and girls, especially in marginalized areas, such as the North, where we come from, as well as people with disabilities. And therefore, in terms of the social justice, in fact, I have here with me the budget breakdown for the year 2021-2022, Madam Speaker. But what I'm seeing is the issues around equity, poverty reduction, social protection on vulnerable groups are not that well looked after, because by comparison, it's a drop in the ocean. Some of the things that, and the resources that have been allocated to these groups and these groups. So, Madam Speaker, I think it's about time we started as this House to scrutinize, where does the money go? Who does it benefit? Is it going to the social sector, or is it just going to constructions and things like that? Madam Speaker, this is a human rights issue, and the rights of people with disabilities, the rights of women and girls as regards menstruation has always not been catered for, not in our budgets, as we can see here today, not in our plans, not in our institutional frameworks, and it's about time this House flex its muscle with regards to oversight of some of these things, because it's not on that in the 21st century, in the year 2021, we are still finding our children, our girls, our women suffering with a biological function that they have no control over. Madam Speaker, I support, and I hope that even though this is under 47.1, we look for ways in which we can look at implementation and perhaps even a follow-up so that Senator Musuruve can continue to implement and support this initiative to its logical conclusion. I support, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. We move to the next statement, which is by Senator for Mombasa, Mwinyi Mohamed Faki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 47-1 to make a statement on an issue of general topical concern and national importance, namely the poor state of service provision and alleged mismanagement of water, sanitation, and sewerage companies in our counties. Madam Speaker, water services is a devolved function under the Constitution and pursuant to the provisions of the Water Act 2016. The national government is tasked with the management of water resources, where the county governments are charged with the responsibility of provision of water services to the general population in their respective counties. This service is offered through the various water and sewage companies established in each of the counties. Madam Speaker, these water and sanitation companies buy water in bulk from the water service companies in their respective regions and then sell to the residents in these counties. Some of the water companies existed before the advent of devolution and were doing extremely well. However, with the advent of devolution, majority of the water companies are performing below average, and there's imminent danger as some of water companies in some counties are threatened with insolvency since they are already reeling under huge amount of debts, including outstanding electricity and general mismanagement. For instance, Madam Speaker, in Mombasa County, the Mombasa Water, Sanitation and Sewage Company has been unable to pay some of its employees who have been retired for the last 2 years. Further, in 2019, while meeting with the county government of Kwale, the Senate Committee on County Public Accounts and Investment Committee was informed that the Kwale Water Services Company had been unable to pay electricity and that the water services to the Coast Water Services Company and that water was about to be disconnected to the county due to unpaid bills. The list, Madam Speaker, is endless, and I'm sure each senator given an opportunity to speak has a testament of a similar situation in his or her county. Whereas the county governments have financial resources at their disposal, an analysis of the county budgets shows that there has been minimal investment in the water sector by these county governments. Most of the budget provisions are channeled to recurrent expenditure, hence very little goes to capital expenditure. To make the matters worse, Madam Speaker, the water companies have not featured in the County Public Accounts Committee reports, as they are said to be audited by the county assemblies. I'm yet to see any such audit report of any water services company in my tenure as a Senate at the Senate. This lack of serious audit mechanism has led to a lot of misappropriation of funds and mismanagement in the water companies, resulting in poor service delivery and perennial water shortage and lack of water in our countries. Madam Speaker, be that as it may, the water sector has continued to attract a lot of donor funding from the World Bank as well as European Union and among other donors. This has been a lifeline for many of the water companies, but again, a lot of these funds are not accounted for, and in the end, they are misapplied while the people continue to suffer. These funds need a proper audit mechanism so that the loans and grants being received can be seen to add value to the water, to the counties and their people. Madam Speaker, the water companies are also supposed to provide sewage services. Majority of the counties have little or non-existent sewage services. Mombasa County has no proper sewage system, and I know this could be the case in many counties. This service has a potential of not only generating revenue to the counties, but also offering cheap source of energy that can be used in our homes. However, the sector has been totally neglected. Madam Speaker, since water provision is an important service for our counties, and attainment of clean water for all is one of the fundamental items in the SDGs, I kindly plead with the Senate to urgently refer this matter to the relevant committee, we should invite the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation together with the county governments to have a joint sitting so that the issues can be addressed with a view to recommending some lasting solutions to these perennial water and sanitation problems facing many counties. Madam Speaker, this engagement will greatly assist in arresting the current situation, current deterioration evident in these companies, a trend which could spell doom for the water sector in this country. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, the fact that we are approaching the end of the term of the current governors makes this matter even more delicate, as there will be an attempt to loot some of these companies before the end of the term. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Senator. I will only allow 2 comments. Senator Murkomen Onesmus Kipchunga, Senator for Elgeyo Marakwet, and then Senator Musorube.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the point being raised by my learned senior, Senator Mohamed Faki, is a very, very weighty issue. And in fact, it's just beyond the committee looking at the statement as it is. It's about this House providing legal solution to the question of water management in the country. Remember, Madam Speaker, that the structure of water management as a resource and harvesting and distribution of water resources and the law itself was passed way before devolution. And Madam Speaker, after devolved government came to place, the structure that was in place was maintained, which structure established established companies that were, Madam Speaker, dealing with water distribution on behalf of county councils then. But the function of the major water structure or infrastructure remained a national government function. It is upon us as a Senate to sit down now and relook at the whole structure of water management and water distribution. My take is that, Madam Speaker, because it takes huge resources to build dams and to ensure that you have enough water to be distributed, and for water resource management, that remains a national government function. And we put in place proper structure for the same. At the moment, you know, we have regional water bodies, Lake Victoria North, Lake Victoria South, Rift Valley Central, Rift Valley South, Ardhi Water. I think that is what is governing the whole of coastal region, is the Ardhi Water, which is still too huge considering the number of the counties. Madam Speaker, Coast, for example, region, have been crying all the time for the establishment of Mzima Dam and Mzima Water Project that is meant to give water to the people of Mombasa. I think the Senator of Nyeri should really develop a lot of interest on this issue, because in his earlier life, he was involved in this water distribution and water harvesting and distribution across the country. And I think the issue that Senator Faki is saying is that when it comes to the water companies... Senator
Mwaruma, what is your point of order?
I'm willing to be informed.
Okay.
I would like to inform Senator for Elgeyo Marakwet that we have been pushing for the implementation of Mzima 2 Spring, not to provide water to Mombasa, but to provide water to Taita Taveta. Because already Mzima 1 is providing water to Kwale and Mombasa, and Taita Taveta is not getting water. I think that is information we need to get. Thank you.
Senator, that will enrich your contribution.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I know where that information was going, because I know the politics of water. The politics of water across the country is that where the water is found is usually left out, and the lower water consumers get the benefit of water distribution. And so Taita Taveta, just like Elgeyo Marakwet County, which gives water to Uasin Gishu, have genuine concern that water distribution must be fair. And that's where I was going. That the water companies, like the Eldowas, for example, for Eldoret, they're able to get water from Elgeyo Marakwet, but the water is being distributed in Uasin Gishu. And there is no role that is Elgeyo Marakwet as a county is playing in terms of accountability, but also the resource that come back to be plowed back to, Madam Speaker, distributing water in the areas where that water originates from. That is the same story you hear about Nyeri, you hear about Muranga, and they are talking about our water. We want to sell our water to Nairobi, and you can hear now Taita Taveta County. So the whole structure of water management and water distribution need to be relooked at, so that when we are doing division of revenue here, we know how much money can be given to counties, and their role is distribution. Then the role of county government becomes purely distribution. Then the role of the national government is to put in place the infrastructure for collecting the water, building the dams, and the management of the resource, water resource, Madam Speaker, which is the function of WARMA, Water Resource Management Authority. But also, we need to discuss in the context of the Mwongozo proposals that came from the task force that the president put in place to look at parastatals, whether we need all these parastatals in the water sector operating. You have water towers, you have WARMA, you have now, of course, the regional water bodies. Is it possible that we merge some of the bodies to become one, with various departments dealing with management and the other one dealing with distribution? Then we can take the cue from energy sector, where you have the, what do you call, KenGen generating the electricity, and then Kenya Power and Ketraco distributing. And I think that is the structure we need to borrow. And I really want to thank Senator Faki for coming up with this issue, because it's every time I think about the water complaints from my county and other parts of the country, it goes back to us providing solution in the law. The committee then, which is chaired by Senator Kidiomi, I think so, the relevant dealing with water issues, should not just go and look at the statement in terms of accountability of the accounts and so forth, but also what legal, what amendments can we bring, what are legal reforms that we can do as a Senate in this very remaining short time, Madam Speaker. Did you know, Madam Speaker, we have less than a year to actively participate in this House? Because you know by April next year, nomination of political parties will have taken place. Some of you will have won party tickets to be governors. You will not have time to come back here. I know there are a number of governors here, including the governor of Nakuru, who is here, Madam Speaker. The governor of Mombasa is still thinking. He's here. The governor of Makueni, the governor of Nairobi. Many governors are sitting in this chamber. But before you go and face this problem on the other side, before you can go and deal with those problems on the other side, why don't we use this short period of time that is remaining between now and December to ensure that we relook at the legal framework to make it possible for county government to go and deliver water to its own, to distribute water to its own people, and to make it possible to hold the national government accountable insofar as establishing the infrastructure for water collection and distribution. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Mudama Agnes Kabindu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to support this bill. But mine is just to ask a question about Machakos. When I was in Tana as a director, we were only getting boreholes for Kajiado, Kitui, Makueni, and Machakos was not among the drought mitigation areas. So I would want this to be looked into, because in Machakos, there are some areas which are very, very dry and they need water more than some areas that we were even taking the water to. Mine is just that, Madam Speaker. Thank you. I support this.
Honorable Senators, I would like to refer this statement to the Committee for Lands, Environment and Natural Resources, because of the weighty issues that have been raised. I don't know if the chair, is the chair of Lands around? Senator Mudiomi. It's important to be very attentive, Senator. We are referring, we are not inviting you, but what I'm saying, We are referring that statement to your committee. Yes. And is 2 weeks adequate for you to look at the matters which have been raised by members?
Yes, we are going to look at the matter, but I saw like the matter was supposed to go to the Committee of Trade, although it's a matter that is domiciled in our committee.
I think it's squarely on lands and natural resources, but if you need the input of the Minister of Trade, the Committee of Trade, they can be incorporated.
I agree, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
We'll look at it.
2 weeks. Senators, we move to the next statement on that cadre by Senator Halake Abshiro.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 47-1 to make a statement on the persistent state of insecurity in Isiolo County. Madam Speaker, Isiolo County has borne the brunt of relentless bandit attacks, with the latest incident taking place in Madowale village, Merti sub-county on 20th June. Madam Speaker, this statement has been overtaken a little bit by events, given that many more attacks have happened since I submitted this. So you'll bear with me if I insert a little bit from what's not on the paper itself, because since the 20th of June when I submitted the request, there's been several other attacks that have happened where in this particular case, 3 women and 2 men were killed and scores injured, Madam Speaker. Further, the incident led to the destruction of a borehole which served as a source of water for the community and their livestock. A herder was also killed near the Kore borehole on 18th June. But as I said, Madam Speaker, these killings, this destruction of boreholes and of livelihoods has been going on even after the submission of this statement. Allow me to convey my deepest condolences to the families who have lost their loved ones in these incidences. Madam Speaker, people have lost their husbands, their wives, their fathers, their mothers in these incidences, and it's really becoming a bone of contention in the county and surrounding counties, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, these banditry attacks, which have mainly been targeting strategic boreholes and community grazing fields, have claimed too many lives, with women and children being the greatest casualties of the senseless but well-orchestrated attacks that is going on. Madam Speaker, I'm not saying this is unique to Isiolo. We've seen on television, we've read on papers, we've watched, we've seen in our counties. It's flaring up everywhere. We are wondering, what are the security apparatus doing? I condemn these heinous attacks in Isiolo and everywhere else in this country, which are now snowballing into a devastating crisis if the perpetrators are not stopped in their tracks, arrested and prosecuted, Madam Speaker. It is unacceptable that these incessant violence, aggressions always leave a trail of destruction and bloodshed for our people right across the country, but more specifically in northern Kenya, where some of the issues around NPRs or KPRs people have been disarmed, but there are certain areas where then these arms are still being used and small arms are in the wrong hands, Madam Speaker. The issue of insecurity in the county of Isiolo is now not new. We've brought this issue to this House. The leadership has brought this issue to this House, and we have raised it severally, but the plight of the locals is yet to be addressed conclusively, Madam Speaker. We are now at a crossroad wondering whether the lives of people in Isiolo and around the country where these incidences are happening are worth anything, and who is to stop these senseless killings, Madam Speaker. As recently as December of 2020, at least 7 people were killed and 2 others seriously injured in a bandit attack in Kuri village in Garbatula County. This is one of the various incidences that were reported to this House. Again, in April 2021, a chairman of one of the communities living in Isiolo, in Isiolo County, was killed by armed bandits at Karsa grazing area in Kina Ward, Garbatula County. Again, nothing was done, Madam Speaker. It's only after the fact that innocent people sometimes are just taken to court, and I know for a fact that somebody, and even though I'm not saying, I'm not purporting them because I have not done the investigations, it's always after the killings have happened that our security forces come and scoop everybody else in the village and put them in police custody. That must stop. The intelligence must know who is culpable of this and not just round up anybody that they find. There's a Mzee who is very sick right now, who has been put in police custody without having been charged as yet, Madam Speaker. These are but among the few reported attacks over the recent years, and there is fear that these attacks may continue if no action is taken to avert more bloodshed. Madam Speaker, in addition to the loss of lives, there's massive destruction of livelihoods, and consistent disruption of economic activities by these bandits is making residents susceptible to perpetual poverty, Madam Speaker. If you look at where poverty is highest, it's in northern Kenya. But every time there's this insecurity, the people are impoverished beyond the bare minimum of even $1 a day, Madam Speaker. Not to mention the mental anguish. People in Isiolo and in northern Kenya in general, and all parts of this country where pastoralists live and are subjected to these attacks, these are people who are walking, mad people, because they are mental anguish. And this cannot continue, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, while we appreciate some of the actions that were taken by government so far, it's high time the security apparatus step up to prevent these attacks instead of sitting on their laurels only to later dash to collect dead bodies and to then get villagers into police stations. Madam Speaker, we call upon the duty bearers to execute their mandate by protecting our people in fulfillment of their constitutional duties, failing which they should be held responsible for abdicating the roles bequeathed upon them by the people. And this House has the power to do so, Madam Speaker. If indeed, through our Constitution, we as a House, as legislature, have the same powers as the judiciary to oversight and to ensure that we hold our institutions accountable, this is the time to do so, because this bloodshed can no longer continue, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in view of the seriousness of this matter, I beg to request that this also be given to the Committee of Defense and Foreign Relations, and I apologize for putting it in 47.1 because I needed to actually account for each and every incident that happened, Madam Speaker. I thank you, and I submit.
Thank you, Senator. I want to give comments, only 2 comments. Senator Musurube, please be very brief.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support the statement by Senator Halake. And it is not the first time that Senator Halake is bringing the issue of Isiolo insecurity in this House. She has constantly done that, and it is something very commendable. And Honorable Speaker, I also stand with the school of thought that the government should actually ensure that it is doing something to ensure that people are secure in the countries, because when it comes to security issues, it is a constitutional mandate, Honorable Speaker, that people need to be given security. Even those who are vulnerable, those who are not able to provide security for their families and themselves, the government needs to come up and ensure that it is providing security for these people. So I want to say, Honorable Speaker, in as much as we are talking about the government providing security, it is important also for people in the counties to know that they need to work with the police force. Community policing, I've seen it even working in my constituency in Lugari, and I commend also the security forces in Lugari, because I see them also working with the community to identify the attackers. Because some of these attackers, Honorable Speaker, they're actually known, and if they're known and they're reported, then the police force should take action and ensure that they're effecting the mandate of our Constitution of protecting Wananchi. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity.
Senator Faria.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I also wish to thank Senator Abshiro for being consistent in terms of bringing the plight of her people to fore and always talking about this issue. Madam Speaker, it saddens me to see that people who are already marginalized, who are also marginalizing themselves all the time by killing each other. Madam Speaker, in the formula that of CRA formula was based on population. Madam Speaker, what makes me very sad is that our pastoralists, instead of now looking at the benefits that population can bring about, they kill each other, they displace each other for absolutely no gains. I also want to really tell off politicians who who are setting people against each other for their own gains. Madam Speaker, in my own constituency, where I come from, there are rumors that people are planning, clashes towards the end of the election so that somebody can consolidate his own, backyard in terms of getting more votes. What kind of human being is like that who is planning bloodshed or at the expense of people, Madam Speaker? The other thing is, Madam Speaker, no development can take place in where there is insecurity. There is no development. So my people, including Senator Abshiro's people, these pastoralists, let them not complain about marginalization and poverty. Because as long as they are fighting each other, there will be poverty, there will be marginalization, there will be no investment, there will be unemployment, all manner of, bad things will happen to that society as long as they keep on fighting. Madam Speaker, even you, if you are an investor in places in Isiolo, and you wanted to bring a big project that would have given a lot of employment to people, you will never go to Isiolo because people are fighting. Because I will only invest in somewhere when I am assured that there is my assets are secure in that area. So, Madam Speaker, I think we can always sing about unemployment, about a lot of other things, Madam Speaker, but as long as you have insecurity, that will be just a dream pipe, just like that, Madam Speaker. So in this century, with the development of so many things, I think our communities should stop fighting, especially our pastoral community. I wish to thank you. Even winning an election is not worth people's lives. And I think as leaders, as politicians, as people who are, change makers, I think we need to be alive to that fact. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Finally, Senator Kwamo Mugeni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving this opportunity. I first want to congratulate Senator Bushiro, who has been very consistent on raising issues of concern to the people who reside in the county of Isiolo. And I also want to condole to the families of many people who have been victims of these very senseless killings. Madam Speaker, I think it's high time the Inspector General is taken to task over these killings. Madam Speaker, if you follow the recruitment of police officers for the last 3 years or so, we have recruited over 15,000 police officers. But what begs the question is, why haven't we seen an improvement on the security situation in these vulnerable counties of Isiolo, Wajir, and Mandera? I think, Madam Speaker, there must be a problem with the Office of the Inspector General of Police. And Madam Speaker, what is our priority as a country? If you drive from here to my county of Nyamira, before we saw these massive recruitments, we used to get 3 policemen manning roadblocks. Now, Madam Speaker, you find a crowd of 10, 15 police officers on our roads, manning roadblocks, and the motivation and the incentive is to collect bribes from motorists, while people residing in Isiolo, Wajir, Mandera are being killed. This should not be allowed to continue. And I wish the chair of the Security and Foreign Affairs Committee was here, because we need to summon the Inspector General of Police to appear before this House and tell us what measures has he put in place to stop these senseless killings. We cannot, year in, year out, Madam Speaker, continue being told that people will continue dying in northeastern Kenya from attacks by bandits. 50 years plus after independence, Madam Speaker, and people can never settle down to do their own their economic activities. I think it's not right, and we really must urge the chair of the Security Committee and Foreign Affairs to summon the IG to this House, Madam Speaker, and then he explains to this House what steps have been put in place in terms of increasing the presence of police officers, including opening more police posts, including having more police reservists in that region, so that the people who reside in those regions can feel they are also Kenyans. I support, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Senators. Also, due to the weighty matters which have been raised by that statement, I would like to refer that to the Committee of Foreign Relations. I don't know if there is any member, the chair or the deputy chair, or any member that will be relayed to them, and we need the outcome within 2 weeks. That is pursuant to Standing Order 47.3. Honorable Senators, we move to Standing Order statements coming under Standing Order 48.1. I don't see Senator Wetangula here. A small comment of less than a minute. Okay, fine.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, when committees do these statements, you know, sometimes there are other contributions, which normally is not brought when the committee is discussing this issue. I think if there are critical issues that are brought by the plenary, even if it's not in the statement, can we have them included in the request to the ministries? That's my request, and I wanted you to support us in confirming that.
That's fine. We support that. That's okay. Yeah. So be it. So it's directed. Yeah. Which one?
After Isiolo, then you go to Petrol, then Petrol doesn't seem to be here.
48.
48.
Yeah, we are now on 48.1. So Senator Wetangula is not there. Senator Olaitip is not there. Senator Kangata is not there. Senator Ngata again is not there. We move to Senator Paren.
Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Energy regarding the Kenyan wind power project in Ngong Hills. In the statement, the committee should state the corporate social responsibility programs that residents of Manyata, Kibiko B, Ngong Hills in Ngong, whose land is hosting the wind turbines, are benefiting from under Kenyan wind power project. 2, explain whether Kenyan has any educational scholarship programs targeting the local community around Ngong Hills, and if so, how many locals are benefited. And 3, provide data on how many residents of Ngong Hills Kenyan has employed in the Ngong Hills wind power project as casuals and long-term employees, as well as the quality of the jobs. That's all, Madam Speaker.
Next statement by Senator Okongo Mugeni. Please give him the mic.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Because time cannot allow us to comment on all these statements. It's just not possible.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads and Transportation on the collapse of part of a building that was meant to house the County Assembly of Nyamira County. Madam Speaker, in the statement, the committee should, 1, explain the circumstances under which part of a building that is meant to house Nyamira County Assembly offices that was under construction collapsed on the 27th of May, 2021. Number 2, Madam Speaker, state the steps taken by the government agencies to ensure that thorough investigations are conducted into the incident and any persons found to be negligent be brought to book. And 3, state the measures taken by the government to ensure that contractors are there to set down requirements and standards when undertaking construction to avoid repetition of collapse of buildings under construction. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, so Senator, the statement by Senator Pareno is referred to the Committee on Energy, and Senator Okongo's statement is referred to the Committee on Roads and Transport. The next one is by Senator Wajir. Abdullah is not there. The next one is by Senator Mwaruma.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to seek a statement on conferment of citizenship status by the government of Kenya to foreigners married to Kenyans. Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 481 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations concerning the non-conferment of citizenship to foreigners married to Kenyans. In the statement, Madam Speaker, the committee should explain why foreigners married to Kenyans have not been conferred with Kenyan citizenship as per Article 13.2 and 15.1 of the Constitution. 2, state when women in Taita Taveta County, mostly from Tanzania, as well as other foreign countries, who are married to Kenyans will be conferred with Kenyan citizenship upon verification of their marital status documents. And finally, Madam Speaker, I'll give a list of the number of women who have applied for conferment of citizenship, how many have been conferred with the said citizenship, and how many are pending, and when they will be given that citizenship status. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
I will allow Senator Msurube. Just be brief with your comments.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to support the statement by Senator Mwaruma that there's a need for foreigners who have been married by Kenyans to become Kenyans as well, because then their children will be legitimately citizens of Kenyans. I know in the US it happens that if someone from US marries a foreigner, then the person becomes automatically a Kenyan. So this is something that should be pursued so that conferment of citizenship is given as a legitimate need for the family, so that families are not really affected psychologically, because everyone needs identity. And it is a constitutional requirement that every child born should have identity and all that. So even every married couple should have identity, Honorable Speaker. I support this statement. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Hargura, you want to comment on this briefly? Okay. So we go to the statement by Senator of Mombasa, Senator Mohamed Faki, who is not there. Then we go to the Senator for Bomet, Senator Christopher Langat, is also not there. Next is Senator wa County ya Mombasa, Munyihaji Faki, hayuko. Then next is Senator Wetangula, not there. Senator Faki also deferred. Then Senator Abshiro.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this time I am Kenyan, and I am doing this with the direct consultation, in direct consultation with my chairman, Senator Githiomi, and I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads and Transportation on the deplorable condition of Uhuru Mawingo Road in Nyandarua County. In the statement, Madam Speaker, the committee should explain reasons for the deplorable condition of the Uhuru Mawingo Road that is negatively affecting the residents and hindering their participation in agribusiness, which is their main source of income, but also which is also the main supply area of produce around the area. Madam Speaker, the committee should also state whether there are any plans by the relevant roads authorities to repair and or upgrade the road to ensure that an efficient transportation system for the residents and their produce, bearing in mind that this is a breadbasket for the region and has a lot of potential for agribusiness, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the committee should also provide a time frame during which repairs and or upgrades of this road might occur, given the suffering that has already gone on and the waste and opportunity cost that is being incurred on a daily basis by the farmers in Nyandarua. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Hargura.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Speaker, I'd like to thank Senator Abshiro for this statement on the issue of roads, because we are an agricultural country, and these are some of the most productive parts of this country. Sometimes it's difficult to understand how the improvement and upgrading of roads is done in this country. So it's better if we can have actually a detailed answer in terms of what plans do we have actually to make sure that we provide access to all these productive parts of this country, because without having a good road, then you cannot be in a position to take your produce to market. A road is a very important infrastructure when it comes to development, and we need to have a very clear policy on this. So maybe in the answer then, you can also ask the relevant committee to give us a clear policy on how the road network of this country is developed, so that the productive parts and other parts are also linked, so that we can get produce from the market, from the farms to the market. We must have a very clear policy.
Senator Inima Gertrude.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I support Senator Alake's statement on the issue of roads, because roads are able to open up access routes, for locals to get markets outside of the village. And the issue of deplorable roads, Honorable Speaker, is live in very many counties. Like in Lugari, where I come from, Honorable Speaker, I see so many roads that are deplorable. Some of them are supposed to be, erected by the national government. Some of them are constituency roads, but you see they are in a really, really bad state. And yet we always give money to go out to the counties. And the reason the Senate actually allows money to go to the counties is so that services can reach wananchi. So, Honorable Speaker, I support this statement, and I'm also urging, the county governments to ensure that they're doing something. I'm also urging the MPs to use the constituency funds to ensure that roads are passable, and even in Lugari, Lumakanda, where I come from, I have also the same case where there are roads that are impassable. And yet, Honorable Speaker, these roads help wananchi. They help our riders, the motor riders. They use these roads. When it comes to also even matatus, carrying transportation of goods and items inside of roads, they help ensuring that there's employment even for youth, Honorable Speaker. And even as you talk about the issue of roads, Honorable Speaker, I know there's a statement that you actually raised about the wind energy. Even when roads are constructed, they're supposed to help the locals just as much as even the wind energy that is being erected in the area you mentioned is supposed to help the locals. And Senator Gideon Moi also came up with the local content bill that was actually proposing that any project that is done, it should benefit the locals. Even the roads that are being made wherever, whether they're repaired or what, the youths in the areas must benefit from that. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support this statement.
I'm going to ask you to be brief because we still have a lot of statements. Senator for Nyandarua, you can comment on that, but as well proceed to do your statement because your statement is next.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I first thank Senator Abshiro for bringing this matter to this House. Madam Speaker, Nyandarua is one of the counties. I think the only county that doesn't have good roads. Madam Speaker, we've been talking about this for a long time, for over 30 years now. And even when we have devolution, we still have a problem. I am not particularly blaming those devolved units, and particularly perhaps the county government. But I am telling the central government to think about Nyandarua. We need roads. Nyandarua is an agricultural county, and we need roads so that we can have access to take our products, our agricultural products, to the market. We cannot do so if we do not have good roads. And we have been neglected. And this I am saying because it is true. For a long time, we have been neglected. We are a county like a county that is not in Kenya. We need good roads. And I hope government has heard my sentiments. Having said that, Madam Speaker, I now would like to go to my statements. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48-1, seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads and Transportation regarding the demolition by the Kenya Railways Corporation of properties in Olkalau, Nyandarua County. Madam Speaker, in the statement, the committee should explain the reasons for the demolition by Kenya Railways of properties built on the corporation's land without issuing notices to the affected parties. And yet, Madam Speaker, the properties have valid leases from the corporation. Madam Speaker, I would like the committee to outline the measures, if any, that the corporation has put in place to ensure that leaseholders with valid leases and leases which have not expired are fully compensated for the losses incurred following the demolition, and also state the measures the ministry will put in place to ensure that the rights of valid leaseholders along the railway corridors are protected. Madam Speaker, as we all are aware, Kenya Railways has adopted a regeneration strategy of its old and link railway lines. Madam Speaker, we can all agree that this is highly commendable and should be encouraged. However, Madam Speaker, Kenyans who have leased Kenya Railways land and put up investments on the same should be compensated. Madam Speaker, on the 16th of February 2021, the residents of Olkalau woke up to the sound of bulldozers and excavators as they tore down their properties in the guise that they were built illegally on Kenya Railways land. Madam Speaker, these demolitions were carried out despite the fact that the affected parties have genuine and valid leases from the Kenya Railways Corporation. and that no notice had been issued to them prior to the demolitions. Madam Speaker, one is left to wonder then, did Kenya Railways forget that it had released this land to the aggrieved parties, or what would have warranted the corporation's action? Madam Speaker, were in total disregard, the actions of the corporation were in total disregard and in contravention of the provisions of Article 40 of the Constitution on protection.
Order, Senator Githiomi. I note that you had already read out your statement, and now you're debating it contrary to the provisions of our standing orders. So I want you to wind up because you're now debating.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm winding up now. I'm only saying, Madam Speaker, that the Kenya Railways need to be held to account for carrying out these demolitions in breach of the contractual agreements with the leaseholders, and that they should be compelled to compensate all the affected parties.
I think you can leave it at that. The committee will make the findings when they handle the matter.
Madam Speaker, I thank you.
I will allow just very brief comments from Senator Halake, and then I will allow Mogeni to also make. Very brief, please.
I'll be brief, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I also want to just point out the fact that evictions of this nature, these arbitrary evictions and demolitions, are actually rights abuses, in addition to being abuses of contractual obligations by people that have actually contracted, and the sanctity of leases and things like that. So I think our institutions need to really respect the rights of the people, but also they need to make sure that the dignity and legality and the sanctity of our legal documentation and legal provisions are not taken for granted, because then it will make this country, as senators have said earlier, become a place where everything becomes just a piece of paper that's not respected, and it has adverse effects in the economy and the rights of our people. I support, Madam Speaker, and this should be taken seriously and dealt with conclusively.
Senator Mogeni, Eric.
Please, thank you, Madam Speaker. First, I want to thank my good friend, Senator Githiomi, for highlighting the plight that is facing his constituents, the people of the good county of Nyandarua. Madam Speaker, I think we passed or we enacted our new constitution 2010 so that we have sanctity of title, so that bodies, including government parastatals like Kenya Railways, can respect the right of Kenyans to own land, either through freehold or through leases. And Madam Speaker, in a country that prides itself with adhering to the rule of law, it is saddening that a government agency like Kenya Railways can wake up, evict people without giving them notices and without compensation. That is a conduct that we expect to come from people who may be ignorant of the law, who may not have services of advice by lawyers within that body. But looking at a body like Kenya Railways, I'm sure it has legal officers, it has a company secretary, and they should advise the corporation. It's not fair to just go to Nyandarua, evict Kenyans from their pieces of land where there are valid leases without compensation. I think we are really degenerating as a country. We are throwing the rule of law through the window, and we are now going to allow anarchy to generate, because Kenyans are watching. If Kenya Railways, Madam Speaker, can move to Nyandarua without a court order, without notice, evict somebody from where they have lived, I don't know for how many years, what do you expect a neighbor who may think that he owns a particular piece of land? They will also rise up one day, go and forcibly evict people from their pieces of land. By the Senator for Nairobi. And this House passed a resolution, Madam Speaker, that during this period of COVID, We should not have evictions from either government or government agencies. And Kenya Railways is a government agency. How can it do that to Kenyans during this period of COVID? Where do you expect those Kenyans to go, Madam Speaker? So I want to support Senator Githiomi and affirm or state to this House that the issue he has raised should not be taken lightly. That is a serious issue. In fact, Madam Speaker, in civilized jurisdictions, if such a matter happened, the CEO of Kenya Railways will not be in office today. He will be forced to quit office because you can't treat Kenyans like animals. Those are human beings. We should conduct our business in an orderly manner. So I support Madam Speaker, and I want the committee that will be tasked to inquire into this matter to give it the importance that it deserves, make a serious inquiry, summon the CEO of Kenya Railways to this House and explain why that body is treating Kenyans in such an inhuman manner. My sympathies to the people of Nyandarua who have been victims of this eviction, and I hope that this Senate can come out very forcefully on this cooperation so that we don't see this happening in another county. I support, Madam Speaker.
Members, I will allow just very few comments, Langat, very few, because you've just come in and we have quite a list to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for also giving me this chance to add my voice on this particular issue on irregular eviction of people by the Kenya Railways Corporation. And I want to say that I was shocked some few months ago, Madam Speaker, when I was coming through Nakuru route to find out that people were doing a lot of demonstration. And when I asked, I was told that the Kenya Railway Corporation had demolished most of the business along their land. In fact, I later on asked the leadership from that particular region, and they explained to me very clearly that the houses of those particular people were demolished without notice. A lot of destruction took place, Madam Speaker. The economic empowerment was totally destroyed. I could remember some very beautiful hotels and even petrol stations that were along those particular places. I would have wished this particular corporation, Madam Speaker, had given a notice to these particular people, because you can see Kenya currently is going through a lot of challenges. The challenges because of COVID-19 and most of the challenges of unemployment among our youths. Most of the kiosks and business centers that were destroyed belongs to very learned Kenyans who have not been employed, and they have completed education. Most of their property was sold to educate them. You see, this destruction, Madam Speaker, is unwelcome. It is so bad that people are going through serious problems of unemployment, serious problems of pandemic COVID-19, and the government is getting in to destroy their livelihoods. I want to say that we are in a very inhuman government currently. It's unfortunate that this particular government, the Jubilee government, I'm among those who actually formed it. And it's unfortunate that it consists of very inhuman human beings that have got no human in their lives completely.
Senator Faria, you have an intervention?
Madam Speaker, is Senator for Bomet in order to call the Jubilee government inhumane without substantiation, Madam Speaker?
It's interesting that Madam would like me to substantiate the obvious. You can see the inhumanity that is going on all over this particular country. Even in Nairobi here, most of the property was destroyed when COVID-19 was at its worst. So I know, Faria, you are not feeling it because you are inside the deep state. And I would like to ask you, with total humility, to join other human beings in sympathizing with these particular destructive human beings. Otherwise, I want to say, Madam, Actually, the committee that will actually investigate this.
Senator Langat, you have to be very brief. You still have your statement to make. We have another 3 statements and a bill to
So I'll be brief.
And I told you to
I
be
know
brief.
when we are touching this Jubilee government, people don't want us to say more, but I want to be brief by
Senator
saying
Milko
that
has a point of order.
Melga is in another deep state again, but she can say something. She's another member of the deep state.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I wish Senator Langat would actually substantiate what we mean by deep state is constantly using it against every member here, and we do not know what it actually means.
I can only describe by saying
Senator Langat, are you threatening members using the name
not
deep
really.
state?
I can only tell Als Milka that deep state is applied in organism, and you're already blinded. You cannot see it and you cannot understand it. So just allow me to finish by saying that these distractors
Senator Faria?
of public resources
Order,
should...
Senator Langat. There is an order by Senator Faria.
Madam Speaker, I said let him substantiate, and he still continue with assertion without clear evidence to his former statement, Madam Speaker. And I think that's unfair.
I think if I am allowed...
Senator Langat, please, let's proceed with what you are submitting on the statement. And these issues of deep state, of non-deep state, let us leave it at that.
Okay. Taken seriously, Madam Speaker. Just wanted to say that the committee that will take over this one, Madam Speaker, should at least do thorough investigation so that at least we get the amount of property that these people lost, and as a house we shall look into it with a lot of seriousness so that some people at least somewhere may compensate these particular suffering Kenyans. Thank you.
So we move to the next statement. That is a statement by Senator Faria Ali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You will allow me to make some amendments because when I was preparing this statement, I did not know that National Assembly had passed a law through supplementary legislation that now boards, the minister has no control over boards and that they are independent of their decision. So I am going to replace Ministry of Education with the Board of Masai Mara. So I am requesting that you indulge me and allow me to do that, Madam Speaker.
There is an intervention by Senator Mugeni Eric.
Madam Speaker, I didn't hear you commit the statement by Senator Nyandaro to any committee. I don't know whether that was an oversight on your part.
I think it was an oversight, but I was actually just laughing because the statement is made by the Senator for Nyandaro, who is the chair of Lands and Transport, and he's making a statement to himself. So he has the hands to handle, even without reference, because it is in his committee, but nonetheless, it goes to the relevant committee, which is his own committee.
The statement was supposed to go to the Committee of Transportation, Roads and Transportation, because Kenya Railways works under the Ministry of Transport.
Okay, so it is referred to the Committee on Roads and Transportation. So we continue with Senator Faria's statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48-1 to request a statement from the Standing Committee on Education regarding the dismissal of Masai Mara University Council of CPA Spencer Sankale. In the statement, the committee should address the following: explain the circumstances under which Masai Mara University Council and procedurally dismissed CPA Spencer Sankale in his capacity as finance officer and a key witness in the ongoing case before the High Court regarding the alleged misappropriation by the Vice Chancellor and the administration of the University of Kenya shillings 190 million. Madam Speaker, I want them also to outline the measures the board will put in place to ensure that the university, because it's an independent institution, to reinstate Sankale immediately and unconditionally, I also wish to state measures that the ministry has put in place, if any, to ensure whistleblowers and witnesses in graft cases are protected and not victimized for their exposures. Madam Speaker, I just want to make a brief comment, not as a debate, but just a brief comment. I think working as an accountant in government institution, you are an endangered species. Sometimes your manager wants you to commit a fraud on their behalf. When things go bad, you're the one who is blamed. When you whistleblow on a fraud that is happening, Madam Speaker, you're victimized and you're fired. Madam Speaker, where is the role of an accountant? Because as an accounting profession, you have a duty to ensure that you protect public interest all the time. And now, given these circumstances, there are conflicting ideas, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I want the committee to do a thorough job in terms of this matter until we get to the bottom of this matter, because no accountant will be able to whistleblow on any major fraud if the Sankale is allowed to be sacked just like that. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
I will allow a few comments, and please let us be brief. I see there is so much interest. So I'll allow Senator Alice Milgo. Brief comments.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me thank Senator Faria for bringing such a statement. And I wish to say, Madam Speaker, it is quite unfortunate that right now we have the University Council being independent from the Ministry of Education. In this case, they'll be able to do all shades of irregularities. Masai Mara, for example, that is my former university, where I taught, and to date I have not been paid, Madam Speaker. And all those staff that have been complaining about pay, many of them have been sent away. The many lecturers, in fact, the chief accountant is one of them, adding on to the statistics. It is quite unfortunate that what is leveled against that particular accountant is simply cybercrime, and in this case, maybe libel issues that in this case needed further interrogation. When you talk about maybe an employee inciting others, I think that should have been an immediate police case. And I think this, we as a committee, because this one is coming to my committee, we shall go deep into this, and I think we shall be able to suggest that these ports, or rather the council, should not be allowed actually to take that independence, because a few weeks ago we learned that in Eldoret, 2 staffs that were fired had to actually fine, the institution was fined several billions, and therefore the university lost after meddling around with 2 university lecturers. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Halaki Abshiro.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also rise to support this statement by Senator Farhia on this unfortunate incident where Mr. Sankale has been shown the door because he has blown the whistle on wrongdoings at Masai Mara University. Madam Speaker, Mr. Spencer should actually be awarded as opposed to being thrown out of his job. Madam Speaker, whistleblowing as a means of curbing corruption has so much potential, but because of these kinds of actions by the institutions and lack of support and protection by the state, then this potential to actually fight corruption is being lost. Because there are so many Sankales across different sectors, across different institutions that could have come forth if only they knew that there's protection of their job, there's protection for, and the backlash that they face is not so dire. Madam Speaker, I think as representatives of the people, we in this House have the responsibility and obligation to make sure that if we're serious about the war on corruption, the Sankales across different institutions must be protected, must be empowered, and must be made to feel that they're part of this society and can work alongside the rest of us to fight this vice. Madam Speaker, this is where whistleblowing could be one way of actually multiplying efficiencies in the fight against corruption, but that potential is being lost and people are being intimidated and shut, because I don't see anybody now, after this, actually ever shining the torch on corruption. Madam Speaker, I support what Senator Farhia has done to make sure we, as a representative of these people, stand up and protect them. I support, Madam Speaker.
Senator Inima Gertrude Musuruve, very brief, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support Senator Faria with this statement. And indeed, it is important that the statement where the committee where this statement will be committed to does a thorough investigation to find out the evidence, is there any evidence that is tangible, justifiable for the dismissal of Sankale? And there's need to really make a follow-up so that we see, was there any unfair dismissal? And when it comes to unfair dismissal, then the Sankale should be reinstated and also compensated for even damaging his character, Honorable Speaker. But as the committee does the investigation, if they find that it was a dismissal that was justifiable, then there's need for honesty and transparency to be actually done in this case of Sankale. Because if Sankale was blowing the whistle and the whistle was rightly blown, then he should be supported, he should be protected, because sometimes whistleblowers really face hard life after blowing the whistle. Like it happened also with a young man at Kenya Airways who blew the whistle and eventually was dismissed. He was transferred to another place where he was not qualified. So there's need for justice to be done so that if Sankale was on the wrong, yes, we can say that the dismissal was right. But if he was not on the wrong, then also he should be treated fairly, Honorable Speaker. I support this statement, and I hope that the committee will do justice to this statement so that it becomes also an example to all Kenyans. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Mogeni Eric Okongo.
Madam Speaker, I hope what has been brought to the attention of this House by Senator CPA Farhia is not true, because if it is true, then indeed it is very sad. Because, Madam Speaker, we should not victimize people who come out to expose fraud in public bodies. And if CPA Sankale is that patriotic Kenyan who has taken a risk to come out and volunteer information that exposes fraud in an organization, then the best way to reward him is not to sack him. In fact, he should be promoted. And I hope, Madam Speaker, that the committee that will be tasked with this matter will go to the depth of this matter. Madam Speaker, I served as a chair of anti-corruption for 5 years. And we pushed for 5 years for the government to enact a whistleblower legislation so that people like CPA Sankale don't become victims when they step out to volunteer information that should assist the government in fighting fraud. You can imagine what message we are passing across. What we are telling Kenyans is that if you come out and you report corruption, then we'll hit back at you and we'll sack you. And people will become fearful. They will not step out to report corruption. And what we are going to see, Madam Speaker, is that cases of corruption will continue to spiral. Madam Speaker, I was shocked. The other day we had a sitting with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, and we were told that EACC is pursuing 4 governors who collectively have stolen from the people of Kenya 11.5 billion. That is money that can support operations and budgets of the county of Nyamira for 2 financial years. And that is in a span of 6 years, Madam Speaker. So really, this House, I think when they make a report to the House, we should also summon the Office of the Attorney General and you should be able to tell this House what steps is the government taking to ensure that we protect whistleblowers. And if possible, Madam Speaker, the people who sacked this very patriotic Kenyan, Spencer Sakane, should appear before us so that we interrogate the process. Was there a fair process? What allegations were made against this patriotic Kenyan? Did he get a fair hearing during the trial that led to his dismissal? Madam Speaker, we should be celebrating and not punishing people who come out to give information on fraud. And I can tell you, Madam Speaker, that people who engage in corruption, they try to give a face of impunity. They think they can get out with anything. You come out, you expose them for corruption. Instead of them being arrested and being taken to court and being charged, instead they hit back at you to show you that you'll take us nowhere, to show the level of impunity that we have in this country. They turn around and sack the people who have volunteered information. Madam Speaker, this is a matter that should be of interest to this House, and I hope that this Kenyan, who is from your Maasai community, will receive justice from this House. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
So the statement by Senator Faria on CPS Spencer Sangale Lolchike is referred to the Committee on Education. We now move to statements pursuant to Orders 51, 1B. I am informed that the Chairperson Committee on Health. Yes, Senator Langat.
With due respect, Madam Speaker, I had requested for my statement to come today because it is crucial and very urgent.
Proceed, Senator Langat.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise on personal to Standing Order 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education on the irregular promotion of teachers by the Teacher Service Commission. In the statement, the committee should explain why teachers who have served as head teachers and deputy head teachers on acting capacity in Bomet County, some more than 2 years, were left out even after an interview. Instead, they were replaced by teachers from other counties. To provide a countrywide list of all teachers who have been promoted in just concluded exercise. Thirdly, Madam Speaker, the committee should state whether there is a policy guideline on demotion of teachers who have served in acting capacity for so long without being rewarded. Thank you.
I will not allow any more comments on this. We need to move to the next statements, and this statement by Senator Langat on promotion of teachers is referred to the Committee on Education. We now move to statements pursuant to Standing Order 51, 1B. The chairperson on health, I'm told, is not there, so that one is deferred. On the chairperson, a statement by the chairperson on information and technology, it is requested that it be deferred to Tuesday, so it is so deferred. And then we move to the chairperson, Standing Committee on Legal Affairs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll try to be very brief. Madam Speaker, these are statements on the activities of the Standing Committee of Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights for the period 1st February 2021 to 30th of June 2021. Madam Speaker, the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights is established under Standing Order 218-3 on the Senate standing orders and is mandated entirely to consider all matters relating to constitutional affairs, the organization and administration of law and justice, elections, promotion of principles of leadership, ethics, integrity, agreements, treaties, and conventions, and implementation on the provisions of the Constitution on human rights. Madam Speaker, during the period under review, the committee held a total of 58 sittings, during which we considered various legislative proposals, bills, statements, petitions, and inquiries. Of these, Madam Speaker, 38 were sittings of the committee, 18 were joint sittings with the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs to consider the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020, popularly known as the BBI Bill, while 2 were joint sittings with the Senate Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations to do inquiries on matters touching on county boundary disputes. The committee transacted, Madam Speaker, the following business during the period under review. Number 1, on legislative proposals, Madam Speaker, the committee undertook pre-publication scrutiny on 5 legislative proposals which were referred to the committee pursuant to Standing Order 125(3) subsection A of the Senate standing orders. Madam Speaker, the bills that were considered include the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, sponsored by Senator Michael Mbito, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, sponsored by Senator Enoch Wambua MP, the Elections Amendment Bill, sponsored by Senator Kipchumba Murkomen MP, the Elections Amendment Bill, sponsored by Senator Ledama Olekina MP, and the Penal Code Amendment Bill, sponsored by Senator Abushiro Alake. Madam Speaker, the committee considered the first 4 legislative proposals and pursuant to Standing Order 125(3) subsection A, transmitted its comments thereon to the Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, the committee is scheduled to meet the sponsor of the draft Penal Code Amendment Bill on Tuesday next week and report to the House. On bills, Madam Speaker, the committee considered 4 bills during the period under review as follows. Madam Speaker, the first one was the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020, that's the BBI Bill. The report was concluded and tabled before this House on the 28th of April 2021. Number 2, Madam Speaker, the committee considered the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 33 of 2020. Madam Speaker, the report has been adopted by the committee and is due for tabling before the House. Madam Speaker, we also considered the Political Parties Primaries Bill, Senate Bill number 35 of 2020, and the consideration of this particular bill, Madam Speaker, was deferred. We also considered, Madam Speaker, the Law of Succession Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 15 of 2021, and Madam Speaker, the committee wants to report that the consideration of this bill is still ongoing before the committee. Honorable Speaker, on the BBI Bill, the committee undertook extensive public participation, including 3 full days of public hearings where it received submissions from a total of 65 organizations and individuals. The committee, Madam Speaker, jointly with the National Assembly Committee of JLAC, then retreated to consider the bill and submissions thereon, following which, Madam Speaker, as already reported to the House, a joint report was adopted and tabled in the Senate and the National Assembly, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we want to report as a committee that this was an historic occasion and represented the first time that Parliament considered a bill to amend the Constitution by popular initiative. The report that was tabled by the committee before this House was a result of an extensive research work and deliberations by the committee, and will no doubt be referred to by the courts, as you saw what happened in the Court of Appeal, scholars and historians for future. Honorable Speaker, the committee has also received additional 3 bills which were read for the first time before this House yesterday. These are, number 1, the County Boundaries Bill, Senate Bill number 20 of 2021, the Preservation of Human Dignity and Protection of Economic and Social Rights Bill, that is Senate Bill number 21 of 2021, and 3, the Alternative Dispute Resolution Bill, Senate Bills number 34 of 2021. Madam Speaker, the committee will in due course consider these bills and make a report to the House. Madam Speaker, the third business that has been transacted by the committee is statements. Honorable Madam Speaker, the committee considered a total of 4 statements that were sought by the senators during the period under review. The first one, Madam Speaker, is the statement that was sought by Senator Mutula Kilonzo MP on the delays on the appointment of 41 judges of the High Court and the Court of Appeal. On this one, Madam Speaker, the committee held extensive engagements on this matter with the Office of the Attorney General and the judiciary to have this matter concluded. Madam Speaker, I want to report to the House that as we speak, a total of 34 judges have since been appointed and sworn into office. However, the committee is saddened that His Excellency the President excluded the appointment of 6 other judges, and this committee continues to robustly pursue the appointment and swearing of the said remaining 6 judges as provided for in the Constitution and the Judicial Service Act. Madam Speaker, this committee will be making a comprehensive report on this particular issue to the House next week, but we have taken a great exception that these 6 individuals remain condemned and heard. Madam Speaker, we also considered a statement by Senator James Mwaruma, MP, on the administrative boundary between County of Taita Taveta and Makueni counties. Madam Speaker, on this particular issue, the committee considered this matter jointly with the Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations. Along the way, Madam Speaker, it transpired that there are a number of county disputes involving the counties of Meru, Isiolo, the county of Garissa, Wajir, Isiolo, the counties of West Pokot, Turkana, Baringo, Samburu, the counties of Kisumu, Kericho, the counties of Kisumu and Nandi, the counties of Kisumu, Vihiga, and Siaya, the counties of Taita Taveta and Kajiado, the counties of Nandi, Kakamega, and the county of Kisii and Nyamira, surrounding the boundary of the Keroka Township. Madam Speaker, the committees have so far met and received submissions from the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the National Committee on Integration and Cohesion, the Cabinet Secretaries for Lands and Fiscal Planning, the Cabinet Secretary for Devolution and Assault, and the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government. Madam Speaker, the 2 committees are scheduled to undertake a joint retreat next month with all the stakeholders to address the issues that have come up during this inquiry. Madam Speaker, the committee wishes to report to the House that one notable aspect that has come up is that different government agencies hold different maps of electoral and administrative areas, leading to conflicts where some areas are in a different county administrative unit and another area is in a different area for purposes of elections, which has created serious conflicts. Madam Speaker, the key challenge that these 2 committees have faced in considering this matter is that there has been persistent non-appearance of some cabinet secretaries who are invited to respond to the matters aforesaid before the committees. And in this particular instance, it took 6 invitations, Madam Speaker, before the Cabinet Secretary for Lands was able to appear before the committee. I wish to report to the House, Madam Speaker, that the committee is pursuing this matter and a comprehensive report will be tabled before the House on conclusion. Madam Speaker, the third statement is the one that was sought by Senator Mary Senator on the roadmap of activities leading to the 2022 general elections. Madam Speaker, the committee on this particular issue has held extensive engagement with the stakeholders on this matter, including the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission and civil society organizations under the umbrella of Elections Observers Group. Madam Speaker, some of the key observations that came to the fore is that IEBC lacks the financial, human, and technical resources to prepare adequately for any referendum or elections within the remaining period before we have our general elections in August next year. Madam Speaker, we were shocked to learn that IEBC has not been able to undertake any voter registration campaigns between the period of 2017 and 2021. On this particular aspect, Madam Speaker, we were informed that there are potential over 15 million registered voters that are yet to be captured by IEBC, and they need adequate financial allocation to be able to bring these Kenyans within the eligible voters in this country. Also, Madam Speaker, we were informed that IEBC is running short of time on creation of new polling stations to comply with the law that requires each polling station to constitute of 500 registered voters. Madam Speaker, on a positive note, we were informed by the IEBC that in the next elections they are going to implement fully the Elections Financing Act and Section 22 of the Elections Act that requires members seeking elective posts for the position of MCA, Member of Parliament, Senator, to have a minimum qualification of a university degree. Madam Speaker, the Independent Election Boundaries Commission informed us that they may not be in a position to undertake delimitation of constituencies and ward boundaries until the year 2023, which is the earliest period they expect to conclude such an exercise. The impact of this, Madam Speaker, is that any new constituencies and wards that may be created may not apply to the 2022 elections. Madam Speaker, we also considered a statement sought by Senator Samson Cherargei on the operationalization of the proposed legal aid fund provided in the Legal Aid Act of 2016. Madam Speaker, I want to report to the House that this particular exercise is ongoing. Finally, Madam Speaker, on petitions, this committee received and concluded consideration on 4 petitions which were pending before the committee. Madam Speaker, these include number 1, petition regarding alleged corruption and mismanagement in the Nyamira County Government. 2, petition regarding mass examination failure at the Kenya School of Law. Petition on the arbitrary cancellation of Kimorel Dam and scaling down overall dam in Elgeyo Marakwet County, and petition concerning lack of support to families of victims of the Ethiopian air crash. Madam Speaker, the committee further proceeded and considered the following 2 other petitions. Number 1, petition regarding historical injustice against the Kipsigis community by the colonial government, and the 2 petition on access of justice under the Corona COVID-19 pandemic and the appointment of court reporters. Madam Speaker, this business is still pending before the committee. On inquiries, Madam Speaker, the committee resumed and has concluded consideration of 2 inquiries which the committee was undertaking, and it projects to table these reports before the House in the coming week. This is 1, inquiry into the policy, legislative and administrative framework on the fight against corruption. Number 2, inquiry into extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances in Kenya. Madam Speaker, these 2 comprehensive reports will be tabled before the House in the coming week. On stakeholder engagements, Madam Speaker, the committee continued to hold regular engagements with its key stakeholders to receive submissions and exchange views on legislative and other business under consideration of the committee. Among the key stakeholders that the committee has met during the last 2 quarters include 1, the Office of the Attorney General, the Office of Independent Elections Boundaries Commission, the Office of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Madam Speaker, from the latter, the committee was informed that EACC is pursuing illegally acquired wealth worth Kenya shillings 11.5 billion by 4 current and former governors. Madam Speaker, to put this into context, in the current financial year, only 9 counties are receiving more than 10 billion shillings as per the County Allocation of Revenue Act passed by this House and assented to. Further, Madam Speaker, this amount of 11.5 billion is money that can support the budget and operations of 2 counties for their entire financial year. Madam Speaker, this committee notes that it's a shame that the amount of money being lost to corruption in counties, while the agencies charged with this investigation and prosecuting them, seem to be helpless. This is robbing communities of their future livelihoods through lack of construction of ECD schools, hospitals, county roads, and other infrastructure that these funds were meant to serve. Finally, Madam Speaker, on representation of the Senate in judicial proceedings, the committee has continued to represent the Senate on pro bono basis in key litigation at the High Court and the Court of Appeal to defend and uphold the mandate and functions of the Senate. As senators may recall, Madam Speaker, last year in October, the Senate secured an incredibly significant ruling on its role in the processing of bills by Parliament. Madam Speaker, the National Assembly, being dissatisfied with the findings of the High Court, appealed this decision to the Court of Appeal, and we have 3 distinguished senators, being Senator Orengo, Senator Mutula Kilonzo, and myself, appearing for the Senate pro bono in the Court of Appeal. Madam Speaker, as an update to the House, I wish to inform the House that this matter is scheduled for hearing before the Court of Appeal on the 21st of this month, and the said senators will continue to robustly fight to protect and safeguard the mandate of this House. The committee, Madam Speaker, immensely thanks Senators Orengo, Senator Mutula, who have continued to provide pro bono legal services to this House. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the committee has undertaken a number of county visits during the period under review, and these include serving 3 joint retreats with the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs to consider, as I've said, the BBI bill, holding sittings with the stakeholders in the county of Kericho and also in the county of Nyamira. The committee wants to thank the Office of the Speaker and the Secretariat for the support that has been extended to the said committee. Lastly, I wish to thank the members of the committee for their diligence in executing the mandate of the committee. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Job well done by the legal committee. That was really comprehensive. Can we have just a little of comments, because we still have to try and conclude what we have in the order paper. So I'll allow 2 minutes for Senator Halake and the rest.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, thanks for allowing me to contribute to this, because I've been a beneficiary of the good work of the Senate Justice and Legal Affairs Committee under the able stewardship of Senator Senior Counsel Omogeni. Senator Omogeni has done a fantastic job with the JLAC Committee. As you know, you're a lawyer yourself. This committee does one of the most important pillars of the job of the Senate, which is namely the legal, the justice, and which is actually the major mandate of the legislative and the legal and justice arm of our legislature. And so, from just the sheer volume of what you've seen Senator Mogeni present, we're very proud of this committee as Senate, and especially as senators who have had the opportunity to appear before this committee and to be served by this committee in various capacities, either as public participation with our bills or just pre-publication scrutiny. For myself, I have had the pleasure of appearing before this committee and working with this committee on my bills, the first time and now again. So I'm really, really impressed by the work that Senator Mogeni and his team have done, and I'd like to actually thank them. More than just contributing to his report is just to express my gratitude for the great input, for the great guidance, and for the great work they've done with my bill personally. But that's not to mean that other bills are not treated the same. All the bills, and I've seen going through this committee, have been done justice, just as the name suggests and as should be. So congratulations, Senator Mogeni. Your team is fabulous. They've served us well, and it's going to serve this country well. It's not easy to dispense justice, especially when the kind of things you're handling, from legislative frameworks that are going to outlive us, to electoral justice and other boundary issues and land justice and all these kinds of things. But you've done very well, and the country should be proud of you. I thank you and I support the report.
Senator Inima, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to support the works of the Legal Committee. Senator Omogeni has always been very passionate with his work and truly committed to his cause. And I thank members of his committee for a job well done. And I actually agree with my colleague, Senator Halake, that it's usually not a very easy task to execute. But Senator Omogeni's team has persistently and consistently done a very good job with regard to executing justice in this country. There are so many legal issues that have come before the floor of this House from various members that touch on human rights, and the committee has done a commendable job on doing this. There are also issues that have come on the floor of this House with regard to security matters in northeastern and other parts of this country, and the committee has tirelessly ensured that they get to the root of the matter. So congratulations for the job well done, Senator Omogeni. I support this report. Thank you.
Senator Farhia, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I also wish to thank the committee and especially the chair of the committee for doing justice on behalf of the Senate, so that our mandate was expanded and we were put in the rightful place. Madam Speaker, the other thing I wanted to advise the committee is that, given that the election is around the corner, in terms of any enhancement that we need in electoral laws, and given the boundary dispute, I think they need to be resolved before we go to the election. We cannot afford another election violence this time around. We have to get it right this time, Madam Speaker. The other request I have is, as you remember, both our House and the one of National Assembly, the Chief Justice had ordered it to be dissolved. And I think I have a bill that was going to solve that. I think I am requesting that the committee fast tracks on that bill. And then the other one is around lifestyle audit as well. And then there's another, because the lifestyle audit bit had another bit that was covering for economic crime, amendments. So I have now separated the two, so that in case the lifestyle audit bill gets stuck, at least this other one passes, because it has general, provisions that will help in terms of recovery of assets, because there is an opportunity to negotiate with all DPPs or DPP, so that at least if they agree, they settle quickly, because as the law stands right now, even if somebody is charged, notwithstanding in terms of how long it takes on corridors of justice, notwithstanding that corrupt people can corrupt their way through, then things are never resolved even when there is a clear evidence. So on the one of the Amendment of Economic Crime Act, at least there is I have separated the deferred prosecution element to be an amendment to economic crime. At least fast track that one before we finish this term, so that it can be passed by our house and the other house, so that at least there is a significant improvement in terms of how we handle corruption. The kind of corruption in this country, I am even surprised that our economy is still surviving. So, Honorable Chair, I really request that at least fast track on that one so that at least something gets done. Thank you. And I support the report.
So much for statements. I think we can move to the next order.
Order number 8, the Community Health Services Bill, Senate Bills number 34 of 2020, second reading, division.
Honorable Senators, as we note, we do not have the quorum for this activity, and therefore division will be undertaken on another day. Next order.
Order number 9, the Investment Promotion Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 2 of 2021, second reading.
Senator Dr. Alice Bilgo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I do not know my time. I still have left, but let me just begin and let me start by saying thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me start by saying I was inspired to amend this bill based on the fact that there are challenging times right now. In fact, investment markets, business markets.
Senator Milgo, you need to move that the bill be read for the second time.
Oh, sorry. I'm advised. Okay, Madam Speaker, I'm advised that the Investment Promotion Amendment Bill 2021 be read a second time. So, Madam Speaker, I wish to say that I was inspired to amend this bill, having looked at the marketing environments right now, the investment environments, that is changing more than ever before. In fact, based on the intensive competition, to remain on the competitive table, there must be very strong strategies at both national and county levels. More specifically, the county levels are the new fronts, the new investment fronts currently under the Constitution 2010. Madam Speaker, unless there are proper strategies to attract, retain, and benefit investors, it will become a challenge actually to remain on the table. Madam Speaker, there is an emerging upper middle and middle class, as well as a new generation in the country right now. And what it is that this group of people requires high quality goods as well as high quality services. Together with this, Madam Speaker, technology is actually in fact impacting the world more than ever before in the most challenging ways. And unless we leverage on technology, many of the businesses and investment will end up closing shop. Madam Speaker, looking at the business environment, I think right now more than ever before, the issue of a lot of bureaucracies is actually affecting businesses, and in this case, I think we are going to the issue of speaking to one-stop shop, where we go to one shop and then we, in this case, get licenses, get permits, get business permits, even obtain data information based on the nature of investments that are available in whichever area. Madam Speaker, at this particular point, Kenya in this case is strategically placed in terms of position in East and Central Africa, and in addition to that one, it has very good infrastructure as well as very many fronts of doing businesses right now with the new developed units. Madam Speaker, our major challenge in Kenya is actually, I think most of the speeches that have been given, whether statements or any, are talking about the tax regime that is affecting work, it is affecting businesses, it is affecting even consumption, it is affecting economy. And as doing this bill, Madam Speaker, we have lost a lot of businesses to Tanzania, our neighboring country, as well as Uganda, based on the nature of the tax regimes.
Order, Senator Milgo. You will have a balance of 55 minutes when this matter comes next in the order paper. Honorable Senators, it is now 6:30 p.m., time to adjourn the House. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Thursday, 8th July 2021 at 2:30 p.m.